No, never give up, never surrender.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room because it's such a huge elephant. It's the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that just, I don't know, is killing people right now.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
It's not about really quitting smoking. Their ideological viewpoint against vaping is so strong and so weird. Like, honestly, it's just weird. I don't know why it invokes this incredible sort of anger from these people. I mean, this colleague of mine said to me when I first moved to get the inquiry up, her comment to me was, why don't they just use a patch? And I said to her, do you smoke? And she's like, no. I said, have you ever smoked? And she said, no. And I said, well, shut up then. You don't know how hard it is to quit smoking.
Engorged, penis.
We find that the governor on many occasions engaged in sex-based harassing conduct and conversations. The most serious was the governor's unwelcome physical contact with women, including touching intimate body parts.
So what?
One current employee, who we identify as Executive Assistant Number 1, endured repeated physical violations.
I do it with everyone. Black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street. So what? And that is what I do every day.
Na 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 na. Hey hey hey, go fuck yourself. You're gone, you piece of shit. I'm sorry. Hi everybody. I just want to say hello. It's Friday, and I'm actually in a fairly good mood. I mean, obviously, Ding Dong the Witch is dead. Cuomo is out. I don't even live in New York. I got no dogs in that hunt, and I'm glad that guy is gone or going. And I'm going to take credit. I'm going to say our video that we produced last week that we just played again this week is the reason why he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Or going. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sad. Our guest that we had scheduled canceled at the last minute. We've been waiting to get him on the show. And Alex Norcia messaged me or emailed me a while ago, and he's like, I'm sorry, dude, my electric's out, and I don't know when it's coming back on. So sorry, Alex, we can't have you on the show. We got to have electricity. And I see that Thomas Kursop is talking about selling electronic nicotine delivery systems and buying himself an electric car. So I hope his electric is working. But anyway, I'm glad y'all are here. We're going to have some fun. So let's say hello to a few people real quick. Hello, Omicidal and Thomas and Tom. There's Thomas and Tom. There's two guys named Thomas. And Peggy and Skip. Skip is here. I hope Skip took her Geritol because we're going to have some fun with some oldies but goodies. Because Kevin's here. And he's old. And Yolanda. Chugga. Hey, Chugga. And Andrew K. Andrew K is here. Andrew, don't worry because we found an even better guest. But I don't it's a surprise. So let me get Kevin in. Kevin got good news. And let's see if you figure it out before Kevin announces it. Hey Kevin.
Hey, what?
What's up?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Did you see how successful our amazing Cuomo video was able to get people's attention and shame him to the point where he announced that he's no longer. It's our video that did it.
I think if we appear in court, we would probably be the direct cause. That's my opinion.
Yes. I am claiming responsibility. Skip has figured it out. That the Victor share screen has arrived. So now you have two screens, and you won't lose yourself when you start sharing information on the screen.
We'll find out tonight because it's a live.
Let's see if you can actually keep track of that many things.
I don't know.
You got yourself a background, and you look all like.
I am no prettier
professional.
on this screen. I am no prettier on this screen, so that didn't help. But now I can distract you with graphics.
The ugly stick did work, and we have to give credit where credit is due. We designed the T-shirts, we sold the T-shirts to buy you a monitor.
Yes.
However, the wonderful, amazing Victor from Victor Alltech, that's always watching the show and participating in the chat room, had or has a computer store, and he sent you a monitor. Yes. We didn't have to pay for it. So all of the money that we've stored from the T-shirts is still in the. I haven't even cashed it out. It's still in the T-shirt store, but we are already earmarking that money to buy our very good friend Charles a microphone for his podcast that he's doing for Inco. Yes. It's not. We haven't sold that many T-shirts, but it's enough to buy him a microphone. So I got to reach out to him to find out where he wants it delivered to, because I'm not going to take no for an answer unless Inco's already bought him one. But then we'll find another awesome cause. But since our guest didn't, find time to come and join us at the very last minute, I was actually sitting here because I came home from work. I was going to eat dinner, and then one of my therapists called me, and I ended up talking to them on the phone for like 2.5 hours. So I didn't eat, and I didn't even have the show so there's no show notes because our guest backed out. And at the last minute, I saw one of our friends actually had liked the little piddly show note that I created. And I'm like, oh, that means he's home. He's in front of his computer. So guess what? I'm going to reach out to him in chat and see if he wants to come on the show. And our very good friend, the amazing and incomparable David Gerlitz is here.
One of the crankiest old men I've ever known so far to date.
Is that blood coming out of your ears?
Yeah,
that's blood. That's blood coming out of his ears.
How the hell are you guys?
David, you look so good.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Kicking ass, David. Look at you guys. Are you guys? I watch you. I until I can't take it anymore, and I have to go pee, and then I come back, and then I can't get you back on the screen. So I was just going through the computer tonight, and I was going to see if you had a show coming on, and then I saw your note that your guy canceled out, and you were still going to have some fun. And then next thing I know, I get a ping on my phone, and it says you feeling spry and energetic. I'll be 72. How spry and energetic can I be at 72? But I am spry and energetic. And do I have a story for you tonight, guys?
Well, I like stories.
This is all coming together so good. We didn't plan this, did we, Patrick? This was not a plan.
No, but we called it. You called it, and I agreed with you 10 years ago. Or not 10, but
you surprised
I think
me.
In 7. No, not even 7. We called it, though. We knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yep.
You called it, and then I just mimicked what you said.
Yep.
So
David, if I'm correct, you called it in 2011, I think, and then 2014 is my favorite one. But I found one from something from 2011.
I've been calling this since 2005 when Peter Jennings handed over to me the tobacco papers that he was accumulating, back before he passed away from lung cancer. I think it was 2003 and 2004. Then he died in 2005. So I had been preparing myself for the future. I wanted to get my ducks in a row So that's why I did what I did. I probably didn't do it the right way when it came to, not only just quitting smoking publicly, but then going into the vaping and understanding where the hell this concept is going to go, because I fell in love with the concept, as you know, the concept of vaping being the best alternative that I had come across in all my years of, having been involved in tobacco and cessation and prevention and intervention and politics. So I knew what I was up against, and there wasn't a big army that we were playing around with that were trying to get into the loop here. And then the vaping situation came in, and I thought, damn, this is what's going to, set us apart from the big boys, and that's going to make us grander, and we're going to build a big army, and we're going to get people who are going to make some money and see how much joy there is in helping people live longer with tobacco harm reduction when we didn't even know what the hell it was. Okay. We just knew that it was not smoking. And I think from the very beginning, one of the worst things we ever did, you probably had shows about this, calling it e-cigarettes was probably the worst thing that could have happened to this industry way back in 2008, 2009, and 2010, when things started going to the lawsuits and with Supreme Courts getting involved with the Cetera suit and all that. So I said, what the hell am I getting myself into? And I'm going to do it as long as it makes sense. That's what I said. I said that back in 2011 and 2012. As long as this makes sense, I'm going to continue to work hard. And then, the rest of the story is pretty well known with a billion lives. You know my story. I don't have to repeat it. I'm kind of sick and tired of saying it. But, we made some progress. And then, unfortunately, shit hit the fan and the world started falling apart, not only personally, but also professionally with the vaping industry, not knowing who to turn to, not knowing who to trust anymore, not knowing who to talk to. You get people riled up and then they call you a rabble rouser. And I had people in the industry, with the state organizations telling me I'm too damn militant, and we need to be kind and gentle to these legislators and lawmakers, and make sure you wear a fucking tie. Make sure when you go to the OMB that you get down there and you're on time and you don't vape around these people and kiss their ass. And I wouldn't do that. I never wanted to do that. I know it's important to be respectful, and I know you're going to get more with honey than vinegar, but I just knew we were going to have a bigger and better fight on our hand, and unfortunately we didn't have it. So when I started calling and make predictions, it wasn't indictments against the industry that I fell in love with, being the vaping industry. I just was getting frustrated with all the peats and repeats and backslapping, people breaking their arms trying to pat themselves on the backs, and I just got tired and fed up, to be honest with you. And then 2 years ago, as most of your listeners know me, know my story, my wife suddenly passed away. It'll be 2 years on the 23rd of this month. So no longer did I have a big interest in trying to help people when I couldn't even help myself get out of bed in the morning, So, and then, of course, my lung infusion, I have COPD and emphysema. And for 18 months now, I'm getting weekly infusions of prolastin into my arm every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Because they told me I was going to have a double lung transplant. And that was 2 years ago. And guess what? They're not even talking double lung transplant anymore, because the new medicine that I'm on in this clinical trial program through Temple Lung Center, through Virtual Hospital, their partner, I don't have the markers to have to look forward to a transplant. But the clinical trial that I'm in, guys, is one that's going to give me an extended 3 years of having to, if I do need a double lung transplant, I'll be able to get one up to 74. Because if you don't have it by the time you're 71 in this frigging country of ours, insurance won't pay for it after 71, because your value of your life is diminished, and they don't want to put $250,000 into putting new lungs in an old man. So, I've just been on this roller coaster ride of losing my wife and trying to rebuild my respect in the industry for not wanting to get out of the vaping community, but not knowing where to turn, not knowing where to go. But I'll tell you what, I told Rod Cochran and Julie last week that David G is back. I'm coming back. I'm better now and badder now, and I'm coming in with a whole new attitude. Because here's the final news for tonight that I'm going to talk about it once and be done with it. I have to have CAT scans and MRIs, routinely because of the protocol program that I'm in for my emphysema. And 2 weeks ago, I had a CAT scan, and I get a call at 10 o'clock at night from my doctor. He says, Gerlitz, this is Birmingham. We're on a last name basis. He calls me Gerlitz and I call him Birmingham, not Doc or Dave. He said, I got to talk to you. We found a spot on your lung, and we don't know if it's a mass or a tumor. So, holy shit. Now, 2 years coming up on my anniversary of my wife's passing. Now I got to tell my kids that their old man's got cancer now of the lung. So I've been sitting around for 10 days, agonizing over, what I'm going to say and how I'm going to handle it. And if it is cancer, do they going to take the lobe out? And then all this shit started coming back into my brain about what I've been fighting for since 1988 when I quit smoking publicly. I'm fighting for the people that I'm now consequentially attached to. 400,000 people who are dying every year are going through the same thing or went through the same thing that in most cases, like I'm going through now. So everything just started opening up really quick in my brain. And, I'm getting like, ba-bam, ba-bam, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back and raise all kinds of hell, but I don't know really how to do it because I've kind of walked away 2 years ago because of all my personal tragedies and things. But the end of the story is that I had a PET scan day before yesterday. What's today, Friday?
Yeah.
No, I had it yesterday. They got me in right away for a PET scan, and I had to go through the process of worrying about what are they going to find. It's horrible. It's just I don't know how people wait 3 and 4 or 5 days for news of either good or bad. You want to know something. And I wasn't home 2 hours when my doctor calls me. He says, Gerlitz, Birmingham, I just got your test result from your PET scan. You're all clear. There's no cancer. So I'm feeling really, 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 really blessed right now, and feeling blessed that I have to deal with emphysema and COPD, but that's okay. I can do it. It's been 18 months now, and the prolactin that I'm getting every week is working. I feel good. I'm not on oxygen. I'll be 72 in April. You know what? I feel I'm probably one of the coolest grandpops you'll ever meet next to Crowley there, Logan. Because I have 8 grandkids and 2 great grandkids, and I'll tell you what, I don't want to go anywhere. I've become the patriarch and the matriarch of this clan. And with my kids and my grands and my greats, so I got to be around for a while. So I also have to have a purpose, though, guys. And my purpose is going to go back to my roots of what I started back in 1988 when I took a stand. But I'm not exactly sure how to do it, other than letting people know that I'm not dead. I am still alive. I'm still passionate. I still care about human conditions, but I just don't like people anymore. There's the conflict. I used to like people. I used to be a people person, but people have ruined it for me. Present company excluded. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about people I just don't like anymore. There's people out there I just really don't like, and I'm upset with the way this whole vaping industry got run over. It was a train wreck. We got decimated by people that shouldn't have done this to us. And now I think that I should spend whatever time I do have left, since I don't have cancer now, and now find that passion again and bring it forth and pay it forward and do what I did before, but do it with the people that I can trust and do it with the people that can be a voice with me. I don't work for anybody. I don't have Pinnacle under my belt anymore. I'm not selling any CBD. I'm not selling any hemp. I'm not selling any e-liquids. I wish I did. I wish I could get my e-liquid line back, and I wish I could get my hemp line back, but I know people are busy, and there's so many different options out there right now. So I'm a free agent. I'm able to do what I want to do and, get some sponsorship for my podcast to help you guys, and you guys can help me, and we can do something really big, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to say something to you a couple of weeks ago. I watch your show and I listen to it, and then I get pissed off because I keep hearing, you guys getting pissed off because of the same shit that gets thrown at you guys, and you have to come back and defend yourselves. And so I just kind of like turn it off, go get a drink, and shut the fuck up. So that's what I decided to do. Plus 2 weeks ago, I wasn't sure where my life was going to go with the, the spot on my lung. But I don't have cancer, guys. I don't have any melanoma. There's no masses. There's no tumors that need to come out. They're just going to continue my weekly infusions for however long it takes. And if I can bypass and dodge the double lung transplant, I'm better for it yet. But now I want to get even more passionate to help people who are going to go through what I've been going through for the last several years, because there's no reason for it if there's an option out there in vaping, So I just wanted to let you guys know, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't want to call you up and have a pity party and, then call Kevin, because Kevin and I have been close for a long time and I love him like a brother. But I haven't known what to say to him anymore. And same thing with Paul Blameyer and you, and anybody else that's got a show. I really didn't want to go and talk about the same thing over and over and over. I saw Aaron Bieber tonight on his one of his snippets talking about nicotine in Canada, and he mentioned my name right toward the end of the thing, and I love Aaron like a son, So, but we haven't talked because there's been really nothing for me to say. I've said it all. I've repeated it all. It's like Groundhog Day, And after a while, you get burnt out, especially with losing my partner of 50 years, So that was the biggest pill to swallow. And but I do have a great support team, and my kids are great. My grandkids are great. And my 3-year-old terrorist grandson, he's up in Maine now. I'm going to get him on Thursday, bring him back down here so I can get him ready for his preschool. So I'm still doing my, dadly duties. The only thing I'm not doing is my husband's duties anymore, because I'm an old single widower man now, So, and no, I'm not dating. I don't want to date. I'm not going to date. I don't need to date. I don't want to meet people. I want to take care of myself, my kids, the few friends I got, and then maybe do some good. Huh?
Get off my lawn. Just sit in the chair. Just tell them get off my lawn.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel sometimes, And so now I have a big house that I'm trying to get out of because I don't want to be here anymore. I've decided that this is not for me. The house that my wife and I raised our kids in, it's 6 bedrooms, and I just don't want to be here. So I'm going to make some changes. I bought a little trailer down in Seattle City, New Jersey. So you guys ever come east, you got a little, junky trailer you can sleep in and go to the beach, and but you have to wear a bathing suit, Patrick. You can't go in nude. All right, this is not a.
It's Jersey. Nobody would care.
Yeah,
nobody would care
unless you're
vaping. So I know I spilled put a lot on your plate, like really fast coming in here, but I have a lot to say, and I always have, as you guys know. But I do want to get into. I do want to get into the meat of what's going on here anymore, and get caught up and get brought back into the loop, and let you guys know that I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I was on with Rod and Julie last week for an hour, and we taped some things, and I love these guys, and that's a show that's really, this isn't my genre. Vape radio is a wonderful place to get information out if you get the right people to listen. Your show is a wonderful genre for the people a little bit more in my age category, because I'm not a yo kind of guy, and I don't have I told my son I was going to do another radio spot, I thought, and he said, "You're going to get air gauges, Dad? You're going to get ear gauges?" I said, "No, I'm not going to get ear gauges. No, I'm not going to get tats. That's not my." He said, "Yeah, but hey, I am what I am. I don't wear jewelry. I don't have any tattoos. I got a birthmark on the inner side of my leg. If you want to see it, I'll show you, but it's not really pretty. And I'm not going to, show you my underwear like Phil Losardo does when he does his shows with Dimitri. I guess they got him a new pair of shorts or something I saw with his face on it.
Oh yeah.
I don't have that. I don't wear I go commando, so I don't have to wear underwear.
So simmer down.
Pants have always been optional, but we don't really stand up that much.
That's right. Anyway, I am here with you guys to have some fun, and I got my beverage. Okay, and I got a little sunburn today because I was outside trying to get some stuff done. I got a big yard. I can't take care of the damn thing. What's that say?
Drink. Just drink.
I got a big yard, a lot of gardens I used to love to take care of, and I just don't care anymore. I've lost my ability to care about unimportant things that used to be important, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people tell me, Dave, you've changed a lot. Well, hell, a lot has changed me, So, right. When you have that kind of an attitude, I don't want to turn it into a negative one anymore, because I was really negative for a year, and pretty hateful and spiteful and bitter, and God and I had arguments and conversations, and so my spiritual side got a little iffy for a while there because of what happened, because I'm the sick one and my wife up and dies, so without any preparation whatsoever. So I've learned to live with the fact that none of us are going to get out of this alive. And it's how you live your life day to day and what you can do to pay it forward. So I've convinced myself that this is what I want to do. I don't want to be sitting in my chair out on the porch, hiring somebody to do my grass. I want to get the hell out and do what I can do to help save some lives if I can, by getting information to them to make a better choice of what is available to them, and also keep it available legally if we possibly can. If not, find another route,
If not.
Yep.
So David, I'm not going to try to give away your age. You already gave away your age.
There are people on Twitter that are watching on Twitter that are saying, hello, David. Hamish is said, in response to your good news that that you don't have cancer. He says, great news, and it's good to see you again. People are, because you can see the chat room for most of the places, but people are tweeting greetings and salutations.
Well, there's a lot of people I really, really, really love in this industry, and some I don't love so much, So the people that I've come across in my, 11, 12 years of doing this, I started this around 2010, 2009, and working with people. And Dimitri was one of the first few people I met. And then I was working with Neil, and then some people in England, and all the other people that did my Chris, what's his name, that did this Gerlitz tapes. Kevin, you know that. Who was that? Christopher Snowden.
Snowden, yeah.
Yeah, when I started doing that, I said, what am I opening up here, a can of worms like this, where I'm putting myself out there. I have no backup. I don't have a Patrick. I don't have a Kevin. I don't have an Aaron. I don't have anybody that can come into my little circle and defend me, to vindicate me. So I guess I basically vindicated myself with what has happened in the vaping community and the tobacco industry since I got out of it in 1988 when I quit smoking publicly. So, I knew what was happening with the MSA. I knew what was happening when the vaping community came out. I knew what was happening with Cliff Douglas and Matt Myers and Greg Connolly, not our Greg Connolly from AVA, but Greg Connolly from Massachusetts, who was the director of health and wellness up in Massachusetts, which got big money from the tobacco tax and Prop 99 out in California. So I've been around long enough to know what I know, and nobody can take that away from me. And I wanted to do it in the form of my documentaries. And I got my first one done, which hopefully you saw it,
on Amazon for free.
Yeah, it was an 18-minute trailer of what I was going to do on the second one and the third one, because I had some great sponsorships from a couple people who were manufacturers who believed in what I was doing. Aaron did a good job, and it came out in, I guess, December of 2019, and then 2020 came along, and then boom, 3 months later, we're all in lockdown. Nobody gave a rat's ass about anything anymore other than saving their lives from this, horrific pandemic. Don't get me started on that one. That's another 10-hour story to tell you. But the second documentary, I was ready to go, and Aaron was ready to go with it, and we were going to do it. But then, like real estate, everything with real estate is location, location, location. And with what I was doing, everything is timing. Because, the PMTA process was starting, in the fall in September. Was that September of last year, 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I wasn't involved in that because I don't have any product. I don't manufacture, and I don't distribute, and I don't sell. So all I am was a name as a brand. David G brand was mine. I own it. David G for Vapes Gone Wild with my 3 tobacco flavors for people who wanted to quit, which I thought were brilliant. Tobacco, very light flavor, fruity flavor, and something coffee, because I believe that people, when they quit smoking, don't necessarily want to go from 3 packs of cigarettes a day to your rainbow sherbet. They need something. They need to segue slowly, and which is what my podcast was going to do when Kevin and I started doing it, the David G podcast 2.5, 3 years ago. I had a lot of plans and I had a lot of ideas, but then timing was just shitty, and then COVID came along and it knocked me out of the park. And 4 months after my wife passed, I'm dealing with that. So I said, F it, I can't do this, it's not for me. And like I said, I'm going to continue to do something while it makes sense. And at that particular point in my life, it wasn't making sense anymore because I don't vape, but I do believe in the concept. It's like Aaron believes in the concept. He knows about nicotine and he doesn't use it, but there's people out there like us that need to get information to people who might listen to us more so than a politician or the Surgeon General, Kevin's favorite people, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm ready. I'm ready to come back, and my family knows. They said, Dad, you got to do something. You're just getting to be a bitter old man. And so I got out of the political side of it, with the Trump and the Biden thing back in October, November, December. I just didn't give a shit. I don't care. I really don't care.
Same as the old boss. I said new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah. So all I can tell you is that I'm going to stick to what I know. And I know Kevin, and I know you, and I know a lot of people in the vaping industry, those that have survived and those who haven't survived. I hope they're doing well and they're not struggling like I know some of them are because they put everything that they owned into their business. And then we let them, and I say we, the industry, didn't fight hard enough. We didn't do what we should have done, that I strongly recommended to have a different strategy in this fight rather than being nice all the time, pussyfoot around these legislators like that. No, we don't need to educate these legislators. Let them pick up a fucking law manual and see what in the law that we're trying to get passed to help people live longer, and not let one of their underlings look at it and then come back to them with a 3-page report so they can go to a press moment, So I get tired of people saying, well, we need to go to our legislator. No, we need to tell them off, and we need to get in their face, and we need to tell them to get off shit or get off the pot, and you're killing people, and you are involved with people that are committing horrible crimes against humanity, including doctors and scientists and the people who are leading this fight against vaping and healthier alternative. I have a very unhealthy I despise. It's very unhealthy for me to despise the people I despise in the government and in the health community, the CDC and the FDA and the WHO, so it's very unhealthy for me to be that. I'm not going to do anything if it was going to be detrimental to my health. But I think now I've got a handle on it to where there's enough people that I can go to say, help me keep level-headed, help me keep non-angry, and I want to be as positive as I can to do good things. So I just thought it'd be nice to share that with you tonight. I had no preparation time to come on your show tonight. I just saw that you were going to be there, and you asked me if I was spry and energetic, and I am, because I'm feeling pretty damn good because I got some good news yesterday. So that's going to enhance the quality of my life and make me feel stronger and better and more persistent and more aggressive to get out there and do what I started 20 years ago. So there. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. And don't smoke it.
While David was talking, we did just pop the cherry on the new Victor share screen because Paul or Kevin.
What?
Kevin just shared. Kevin. For you, that's right, David. You may not know. Kevin he only had one screen, and it was really hard for him to watch the show, read the chat, and share stuff on his screen.
Sure,
because then you can't see stuff. So we designed T-shirts. This T-shirt is one of the T-shirts that we designed.
I love it.
To sell to raise money to buy Kevin a second monitor. Well, during the process, we told everybody, hey, we're designing these shirts. We're not designing these shirts to make a lot of money, but we're designing these shirts to sell to make money to buy Kevin a monitor. One of our viewers, Victor, who is in the chat room right now, he commented that he loved your new background. Kevin sent a monitor for free.
Victor
sent Kevin. Because Victor's
thank you,
an awesome fella. Yes, we appreciate it, and we will forever call that the Victor share screen. So anytime that Kevin is going to share something, we will preface it by saying, from the Victor share screen, this is information that we're bringing to you.
It's funny. It was about 3 years ago that I had a microphone sent to you, Kevin. Remember when we were working with Kevin Price, and we got a little bit of a grant. I got myself a microphone and a board, and I got one sent to you so we could do this back and forth. And then when I stopped doing it because it just wasn't working, and there was no hello. nobody was really interested. I sent it back, and I guess Lindsay Stroud took it, and she put it where she could do some things, do some good with it. So with technology the way it is, Kevin, I am no better now than I was before. Technologically, I'm probably worse because the older I get, the more confused I get. I send an email to people and I have to call them to see if they got it. I want to make sure that because I don't believe in this. I think this is a fad right now. Computers are a fad. Wi-Fi are a fad.
Yeah.
It's a fad. It's going to go away, just like television. Back in the 60s. But I'm going to do something, guys. I don't know what. I'm open to recommendations. I'm open to anything because I'm not owned by anybody. I am a free-spirited, free agent to do what I want to do to help get the word out, educate, and promote. Whether it be products or that have been able to stand the test of time and have got their PMT licensing, and there's people that I just love, and I just love Jay Love, and Five Ponds and Ron Peebles, and there's just so many people, Alex, and all the other people that are down in Florida, Nick Orlando and Delore. There's just so many wonderful people that I miss so much that I can't see straight because we don't have what we had before to keep the communication, to keep me excited and keep them excited to see how they're doing because we all struggled, and treading water gets tiring. You get worn out because and when you reach for that lifeline, you don't want to go back in. You don't want to jump back into the water right away until you've got some more strength back. So I got my strength back, really, believe it or not. My emphysema is doing really well, and I don't need oxygen. I lose my voice quite a bit because of the drug that I take, which is prolastin. So that's a part of the education process, and I want people to understand it is a surviving kind of thing. We can survive this. You don't, once you get lung disease, it's not a death sentence anymore. There's some wonderful things going on, but there's so many people that are going to face this death sentence down the road because we've taken away their option to get better on their own with their own body's immunities, their own body's repairability, if that's a word, because we've let the government get in our way to stop people from enhancing the quality of their life all by themselves without them being up their ass. So I'm back. I've said it before. I said it to Ron and Julie last week. I'm back. I'm going to stay back, coming back again with a better attitude. I had a shitty attitude for the last year and a half. So I apologize for that.
You're allowed. I mean, you're allowed, considering what you've experienced in the last 2 years, to be a little shitty, David.
Yes.
I mean, that's not who I am. That's not my personality. That's what it was.
I have a shitty attitude all the time, and
Well, we knew that. We knew that going in.
Still come and listen to us and participate in our antics.
I just think what we need to do is we need to make this more exciting for people to want to get back and help people. Okay, so because we've lost that. We've lost the ability to have that human condition of compassion and love. Some of us have it. But,
so I have a perfect idea for you, David. I have a perfect idea. See, I have this whole network that I own that I have literally not endless ability to host things, but we have the ability to host things. And I think it would be really awesome. And we talked about this. I think we talked about this the last time you were on, but I can't remember. I think it would be great to get you on a show. And maybe if we could sucker Cliff Douglas to come on and you guys just have a conversation.
Oh, yeah. Just you two.
Like just you and Cliff
Douglas.
I love
it. I have no hard feelings with Cliff Douglas. I mean, I have hard feelings with what they've done. I'm saying we started out as friends.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Cliff has done a 180.
180. Yeah. That's all. And I even made mention. I put a call into him. I said, Cliff, you remember me? I came to your office with Matt Myers the first week after I quit smoking, and you were just you just gotten past the bar. And you were getting involved with the American Cancer or Lung or whoever it was at the time. Oh, I know, it was the tobacco industry with Walker Merriman and Brendan Dawson Rand. And so they wanted to get my story. And then I went from there to the Surgeon General, who gave me the World Health Organization Medal of Honor. And that was the following year. So yeah, Cliff and I like Cliff. I mean, I don't like what he stood for. as I'm sure he didn't like what I stood for based on what he thought of me. His ideology was different than mine. So yeah, I think that would be a brilliant idea. I think we've gone from the hate atmosphere to where, well, let's just get along. Let's just fix this. Let's do something to make what our lives were here for, to do some good, and not just walk around and with our heads up our asses trying to, make people like us. I'm not into that for that. I don't think Cliff is either.
Well, no, in March, Cliff released this 10-page manifesto. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. I mean, this was in March. And this is a glorious indictment of tobacco control in the United States and their blinders. I mean, essentially unwillingness to look at anything outside of their cone of influence or what they have the power over, and basically saying, hey, it's time for us to pull our heads out of the sand and start considering tobacco harm reduction, to consider these other points. And I think it would be great. I know that he would never do it as a regular thing, but just to have you guys in a conversation and to video it and to broadcast
do it in a minute
to the world.
I would do it in a New York minute.
Would be amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna clip that I'm gonna clip that invitation into a video all by itself and then post it on Twitter and see if he'll respond.
Well, if you do talk, and we have a lot to talk about, because right when I first started working with the Office on Smoking and Health, with Dr. Ron Davis, who was in charge of it, and he was also the Assistant Surgeon General under C. Everett Koop, and then he was involved with the WHO. So these are the people that I was just thrown in to the lion's den. When I quit smoking, it was just, I didn't know what I was doing. And within 3 or 4 days, I was all over the news, and I was down in Washington getting picked up by a limousine, going down and talking to these people. Sam Donaldson, Peter Jennings, ABC Person of the Week. So I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, okay? But I knew what I was doing was the right thing to do based on the information that I had heard, listened to, watched, saw, and buried in my brain, And then added to that was the tobacco papers that were given to me by Peter Jennings when he was doing the tobacco war file back in 1993 or 92. I can't remember. But yeah, I would love to talk to Cliff. I would love Cliff to know that, my intentions and what I was doing was not to go out and get people to quit smoking, but then start vaping a product that was just as harmful, and I think he knows that. I think he was just caught up in his ideology of who was buttering his bread is what I'm saying. He was working for the American Lung Association, as did I. I worked for lung cancer and heart, mostly lung and cancer. Heart wasn't too involved. But lung and cancer, I got more plaques from the American Lung and American Heart than I know what to do with. They're in my basement now somewhere. I had a wall full of stuff that I was really proud of, because I had come from nothing. I was a little fat kid in high school and bedwetter till I was 14. And then I lost 75 pounds and became a model, and then I was, working with Harrison Ford and doing movies. And so, yeah, I have a very interesting life that, appeals to people. If they haven't heard it before, it is kind of interesting and makes them want to know more. But I want to take that same kind of desire that people have for a celebrity, elitist, or whatever, which I am not, but then to take the information that I know about what can be, enhancing their lives and helpful to them to live longer and a better quality of life. I mean, I'm not bullshitting. I'm not saying that tongue in cheek just because I have something to sell. I'm not selling nothing. I have nothing to sell. I had 3 e-liquid brands, and I had CBD, which I needed because I've had 3 cervical spine surgeries. I had a shoulder replacement. I got hit by a tractor trailer in 2010. So I had to have this sort of, alternative to oxycodone and Flexeril, which I didn't want to take anymore, and gabapentin. So I had to look for alternatives, and they're there. But now people are trying to poo-poo them because greed will always outweigh fear, and then the people who are now fearful, because we know how sheep are, they just follow whoever they think they should believe. And we should be able to believe the government and the CDC and the FDA and the AMA and the ACS and the ALA and the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. Yeah, I'm all for Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids if they can be tobacco-free. Okay, it's not saying nicotine-free kids, but they've turned it around to where it was going to be beneficial for them and their wallets and their pocketbooks, and that's what they have now lived on for the last 50 years that I know of, anyway, pretty much. even before I went public and quit smoking in 1988. So, and what's that, 88, 98, 88, yeah, 30, 34, 4 years, 35 years I've been doing this, guys, and I'm as smart today as I was 34 years ago, because when you tell the truth never changes. Lies change, And if you lie, you're going to forget what that lie was, but the truth never changes. And right now, everything is fake news except the truth. The truth is the only thing that's not fake. And that's what I want to present to the people that are willing to listen, because I see it firsthand what combustible tobacco will do to your life. It killed my brother, and it could possibly kill me down the road. And I've been right now for the last 4 years struggling with this, trying to breathe. I can't do what I used to do. I have to take inhalers, but I'm okay. I know so many people have so much worse, and I don't want to even think about that, because I feel bad for being a part of that, back in the 80s when I was the Winston dude. So I want to do whatever I can. If you can arrange something with Cliff Douglas, yeah, I'm all in. I don't know if he would. I mean, I would do it on any terms that he wants, because I don't indict people. I don't even indict my own industry.
At this point, I think you guys would agree on more than you would disagree on. But just having you and him on the same screen, able to reminisce and discuss past history and discuss mistakes, and also bring up the fact that we need to, because those guys have all the fucking power, dude. I mean,
right now, guys, listen, everything in the last 2 years with all this COVID and pandemic and the elections and fraud and Biden and Trump, people have gone back 30 and 40 years discussing things that's why we have Throwback Thursdays. We have Throwback, last year, Throwback 20 years. Now we're trying to erase history. We can't erase what we've known since 1964 with Luther Terry saying smoking kills. We can't erase that. It's there. Now, if they want to bury it and say now vaping kills, and just use that as their segue into something that's going to be more modern and more hip, I don't give a shit. But right now we can't erase the historical fact that my job was to get kids smoking. I've admitted it publicly. I've admitted it in court. I've admitted it in Congress. I've admitted it in 7 depositions that cost the tobacco industry $246 billion in the master settlement agreement. So, if he wants to talk about that and then look back and say he could have done it this way, it could be a healing. It could be cathartic, as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm not bitter with myself anymore. I'm just angry with the fact that people blocked me from doing what I wanted to do, and that was to undo the damage that I did with so many people that may have been encouraged to start smoking, not because of me, but in spite of me, by saying, hey, this guy could mountain climb and he can fly helicopters, he can do that macho shit. So we've changed, we've progressed. And I think Cliff has too, because Cliff is my age. Cliff is he's got to be close to, I would say 67 or 68, I think. I mean, he's not a young man anymore.
2 old men chewing the fat.
That would be, I think it would be gold as far as I'm concerned.
He's just richer than I am.
So one of the things that you said in the past that sort of just popped into my head was that, part of your job used to go around and distribute and be there when they did the youth tobacco survey.
Mm-hmm.
And you've made comments about, smart ass kids saying whatever that, they wanted to say on these things. What I really think is funny, I have a video clip to play, and this is from the WHO's video from a couple weeks ago. A lot of people have already seen it, but I want you to listen to what this kid is saying and tell me what you think this means. Okay. So I'm going to play it.
Clearly, when you tell teenagers not to do something, there's a good chance they will do it.
Caleb, did you ever take up smoking or try any e-cigarettes as a result of that presentation, and that because of peer pressure perhaps from your own friends?
So I certainly, in my time in high school, with vaping being so prevalent, I cannot say that I've never used it. And I think that there should be no shame associated with using any of these products because they're just so prevalent in high schools. But yeah, a lot of my peers use these products. I've experimented with these products, and yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And so interesting to see that, you know, that they were sort of saying, we're not targeting you. We don't want you to be a customer. But ultimately, you know, as you said, if you tell a teenager, don't do something, there's every incentive then to kind of go and do it as well.
So this was a video presentation from the WHO, whose basic whole strategy is tell kids not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
On their this is a PAVE kid. This is one of the children of the PAVE moms.
Oh, Meredith.
Basically
Yeah,
saying,
good old Meredith.
That's
yeah.
Meredith. That's Meredith's kid.
I knew
Basically saying, hey, if you tell kids not to do something, they're probably going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jewel even came to his part of his presentation.
Me my opinion.
So I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, do you think that the WHO meant to basically tell the world that everything that they're doing is pointless?
Yes. They are pointless. They're worthless. They are useless epidermis. Okay, they have no place in this world to do what they've been doing, and not just because I didn't like Margaret Chen. Okay. I don't know what they're trying to do. When we went to China, when I was on the tour with Aaron and the crew, and we were going to go down to New Delhi for the premiere of the new movie,
A Billion Lives,
and I got stuck, and I got stuck in Turkey, Istanbul, because they wouldn't let me on the plane because the WHO knew I was coming, and I do know for a fact that Margaret Chen, who wasn't the executive director, that moved on to some other person that I don't remember their name. They were told not to let me in because I was a troublemaker and I could cause. I was a threat. I was a threat somehow, because they were having their meeting at the same time with 180 countries there, and they were going. And the biggest part of their agenda was to ban vaping in the majority of the countries. So I don't care. I have no respect for them whatsoever. Okay. But let's talk about what you just brought up there. And, I don't see these kids today being any different than me or you. I don't know what you were like in your generation. I was 13 smoking cigarettes. I was 14 drinking beer. I was 15 driving a car without a license. I only needed a 67 to pass to get out of high school. I had no motivation other than being a teenager, and I was a clown, and I was an actor, and I wanted to be popular. There's no difference. Just because we have progressed now, and the same kids that have now grown up and become the Cliff Douglases and the Matt Myers and all the other people who are in a position of power and authority. If you ask them what they did when they were 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, they were having unsafe sex. They were driving without a license. They were drinking. In most cases, maybe there were some goody people that weren't doing that. I wasn't one of them. And the majority of my friends were. So when I was going to high school in 1964 to 68, a long time ago, probably half to 60% of the teenagers in my class were smoking. In my class of 1968, over half. Okay. And I watched that gradually go down because of education, not because of Surgeon General Luther Terry saying smoking kills. Nobody gave a rat's ass, because when you're 14 to 18, you don't give a shit about dying because you're not going to die. You got 50, 60 years ahead of you before you have to make that decision, to now get healthy, right? That's why we're clamoring now to get healthy with all of these new protocols on TV and online where you can get healthy with Goli, and you can get, healthier poop. Now, if you take this enzyme, if you take that, we didn't have any of that. We just were living our lives and having a good time doing it. Our generation, meaning my generation, between 65 to 80 or 75 right now, okay? We knew everything we did that was wrong. We were just fortunate enough to survive it, unless you became addicted to tobacco, and then you prematurely died at 62 to 67 with heart disease, lung cancer, or emphysema, okay? So what they're doing is just playing games. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, okay? And we're all only the people in the cheap seats telling them that they're wrong, because now we look like the racists. We look like they were with the racist problem we're having right now. Anything you say that disagrees with somebody, you're wrong. You're a liar. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a racist. You're a troublemaker. You're a rabble rouser. So what I'm saying is, the kids today are the same as they were when I was in high school in 1964 to 68, and even earlier. Okay, I had a brother that got 2 girls pregnant when he was 16, and we're all we're preachers' kids. We were no different than other kids in the world. We weren't goody two shoes. I was drunk more than I wanted to admit when I was 16 and 17. I told my kids that as they got older. I didn't tell them that when I was younger. I started smoking at 13. I used to do some pretty bad shit when I was younger. So what makes us think now that we're grown up, the same kids that survived that, think now we can go back and make our children and grandchildren see things differently than we did. Okay, we need to let our kids live and try and experiment things because they're going to do it anyway. And I think that's the point we've always tried to make is that, you don't want to tell kids to do something, but chances are they're going to do it. I did. Mm-hmm. I did. Right now we got 12 to 13 kids dying every day in a car because they're texting and driving. And then we got another 60 kids dying every day because they didn't buckle up their seatbelt when we know it works. We got people riding motorcycles without a helmet and they get tapped by a truck in the back of their wheel and they go flying and then they're dead. So yes, people are going to do what people want to do. And you should always try to let kids like my grandkids and Kevin's grandson, Logan, and his kids. And you have kids, Patrick?
Not that I know of.
Okay. But you always try. Okay. And now what's going to happen, I remember really getting angry with this e-liquid when the little kid in Platts, New York, who died because he got a hold of the mom or dad's e-liquid on the table and drank it and died.
That wasn't e-liquid though. That kid died because the babysitter was a DIYer and had 100 milligram per milliliter nicotine.
Okay, whatever. That's what I was talking about. But because of that, it went to the whole system, of vaping. That's what I'm saying. So it's the same thing with all the crap that came out from the media, with all the lies and of all the shit they were making up to make it look worse than it was. So we have 3,000 calls on e-liquid poisonings from children. But if you look at all the calls for the poison control, over 70,000 different calls for cleaning liquids and everything that a child can get a hold of.
Sanitizer.
So, I just was so sick and tired of the media, and I had the balls enough to be able to stand up to them because I've already met most of them, with Ted Koppel and Peter Jennings and several of the other people that wanted to interview me when it was good for them. But now when I had something to tell them that was really good as far as tobacco harm reduction to help people live longer so they don't have to suffer, they want nothing to do with me. And that happened within my own community too, the vaping industry. That's the other thing that really hurt. And those people know who they are, and I'm not talking about the Von Earl thing where they made me their brand ambassador. I'm not talking about that shit. That's business, And then they sold off to Fontum and Imperial Tobacco and it became Blue, disposables. I don't feel cheated that way. I was pissy that they did it, but that's not what I'm talking about as far as fairness. What's fair is tell the truth about a product that is 95, 92, 99% safer. Prove me that I'm wrong. Don't come after us with the E-Valley shit, with the PAVE people and the PAVE moms and the Mahjong SUV driving soccer moms, because I can't stand them either. And then they get the ear of, Cuomo, and then they get the ear of all the other, your friend Andrew Cuomo. Boy, am I glad he got hit.
I don't think he likes me.
I don't think he likes me. But I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is that all the things that I have an awareness of because I lived through it and I was a part of it and I was there and I witnessed it. That's what I have in my favor. Anything I'm telling you, it's not speculation. It's not supposition. I lived it. I did it. I watched it. I was there. I heard it. I testified to it. And still, I'm sitting here making buttons, because no one took it upon themselves to say, hey, let's take this and run with it and make it a huge story. I'm talking about the media now. Nobody in their right mind, as far as a journalist, wanted to take it. Aaron tried with 1 Billion Lives. Aaron tried with You Don't Know Nicotine. And I love the man. I love his family. I love what he's trying to do. And I would like to be more of a help to him, but I don't know how at this point, with all the things that he's doing, other than doing shows like this, creating some controversy. I mean, I'll bring out some of the tobacco papers. I'll send them, but nobody's going to want to read them. Nobody cares. We have to make them care. That's what I'm saying, guys. We have to make these people care.
Okay, so here's the thing. So, for example, you have tobacco companies in the UK saying we are going to stop selling combustible cigarettes in the UK by this date, 10 years from now.
10 years from now.
And you have companies trying to be more responsible now. Tobacco companies claiming we're going to phase out smoking. We're going to, move into other areas.
Like what?
Well, other nicotine delivery, for example. I mean, we've covered on this show. I don't know if you saw it, but
you mean like the IQOS and the
no, not even that. Not even heat not burn. So Reynolds bought 2 pharmaceutical companies in the last month. Well, it's 4 to 6 weeks ago. One of them owns patents on like 5 different new delivery methods. They have patents on dissolvable powder delivery methods, the inhaler delivery methods. They bought another company that has patents on other technology delivery methods and moving into other areas. In my opinion, they haven't said this, but the only logical step for them, if they're buying these companies that have technology or pharmaceutical patents on these delivery methods, all of them have unique delivery methods. It seems to me their end game is to move into nicotine delivery and using other methods that are not combustible tobacco. And people are upset that they're doing that they've bought these companies and are trying to diversify and move out of a product that kills 50% of their consumers and possibly into a more beneficial area. I mean, I'm not proud or happy for the fact that big tobacco is, I'm kind of happy that they're trying to at least move into a more responsible stance on their products and get rid of some of the, obviously, I don't believe any tobacco company is removing their combustible tobacco products from third world countries, for example, because that's where their biggest markets are.
Devil's advocate here, guys. Okay, why would if Philip Morris International wants to do this in your other countries, why are they waiting 10 years? Why not do it tomorrow?
That is the argument that I'm seeing. Yeah, that is one of the arguments.
Yeah, well, it's a logical argument. If it's bad, it's bad. It's either bad or it's good, or it's not good. It's like you're kind of pregnant. Either you are or you aren't. If you think it's bad, you stop it tomorrow. Then you're making a heroic gesture. Okay, but if you're saying we need 10 years to get our shit together, and we need 10 years to find another source of income to pay these people who have been now killing people for the last 60, 70 years, okay? And now our venture capitalists are not saying this is going to be acceptable. Yeah, you come out looking like a hero. No, I think you come out looking like a schmuck. Come out and say we're going to stop making them by the end of the year. Fine, then you got my vote. But 10 years, come on. That's
the only the only place that they're saying they're going to do this is in the UK.
Right.
They're not going to pull out of Southeast Asia. They're not going to pull out of Africa. They're not going to pull out of India. They're not going to pull out of these places where they have huge smoking numbers.
Is 10 years because of the regulatory stupidity? So they can pass the things they're going to bring in, and they're trying to give themselves a buffer?
No, because they don't have enough money. They're saying they don't have enough money to keep the doors open right now while they develop these other things. So we're going to still kill people for 10 years and then bring out these beneficial products.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's what David is saying.
We keep giving this tobacco industry globally a free pass. They get stay out of jail free cards, just like Hunter Biden, he's got a stay out of jail free card forever and ever and ever. Bill Clinton did, they all did, and so did the Republicans. I'm not going there, but I'm just saying, when you give a free pass to the tobacco industry, like I've seen them be given since I left in 1988, when I quit publicly, 34 years of free passes, that's a lot of people dying while they get their shit together. And right now they're continuing to do it. Yep.
Yourself, without quoting you directly, I can't remember the exact quote, is that you thought they were there to help people, and it wasn't. It was all about the money. Every bit of it. It was always about the money. Always. That's the good guys.
That's
Yeah.
tobacco control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you saw Matt Myers and you saw Cliff Douglas and you saw all these wonderful people, I'm talking about the volunteers of American Cancer and Lung. And a lot of them started out as volunteers, and then they had a real passion, and most of them got into the volunteering for these nonprofits because they lost somebody they loved and cared about. That's how it really starts. That's how it evokes you to get off your ass and say, go knock on doors and get donations for a cause. If you lost somebody to lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, or child care, pediatric cancers, or whatever. Okay, but what happened is these volunteers started getting to feel real passionate about it because they started seeing all this money coming in. And then I'm going back as early as 1960. I remember my mom going around when I was a little boy. She was a young girl telling me when she got older, about 21, she was able to go around and knock on doors and collect money for American Cancer Society or whatever it was called back then. It may not have been ACS, it could have been, but it was for them. She was collecting money. And I'm like, well, how much? We really haven't made a lot of progress with all the donations going to these very profitable nonprofit organizations. $1 billion a year in profits? That's a nonprofit? I don't think so. And I think the people that need to know this are the people who come up to my door and say, hey, would you like to donate to American Cancer? I say, no, but thank you for asking anyway. I'm going to give my money to the people who have cancer. I'm going to go give them a check for $150 so they can go out and buy some food. That's where my money's going to go. Because if I give you $150, 7% of it's going to go to them. And the other 93% is going to go to overheads. It's going to go to fundraising. It's going to go to a relay for this, a relay for fucking that, a relay for, I've never seen a relay for lung cancer. I've seen it for breast cancer, ovarian cancer, testicular cancer. I've seen it for that. But if you go to somebody and say, we're collecting money for lung cancer, nobody wants to give because that person did it to themselves. That person, and I don't want to say they mean it that way, but it's like, hey, they deserve whatever they get. Okay. Yeah. So I want to change the focus of what I know I did. And maybe if I can get a couple hundred people, then I'll feel like my lung doctor. I have a great lung doctor. He's my pulmonologist. He'll go out, he might make $100,000 to do a lung operation to save one life. Mm-hmm. We have an opportunity to save millions. Those people who are still smoking and the ones who have quit and transferred over to vaping in the last 10 years, that doesn't negate them from getting something that has already been predisposed in their body, either genetically or through the exacerbation by smoking all those years, because it takes 8, 10, 12 years for it to start really showing, like HIV/AIDS. Mm-hmm. You may carry it for 15 years before you know you get it. So the people who've even quit in the last 10 years with vaping, okay, they have a better shot at living longer, but they still may be predisposed to get some sort of a disease caused by combustible tobacco. So my anger is real. So if I sound militant.
David, when was the last time you smoked a cigarette?
When was the last time I smoked a cigarette?
Yeah, when did you quit smoking?
I quit smoking November of 1988 on the Great American Smokeout. Okay. And I went 3 months without a cigarette. I get a call from my neighbor telling me my dog was dead in the middle of the road. So I went out and got my dog, picked him up, put him in my backyard, went out and bought a pack of cigarettes. Somehow it didn't bring my dog back. I just smelled like smoke. Now I got to go into my kids who I just pronounced that I'm never going to smoke again because their uncle died of lung cancer. All right. So I started to cheat. I would quit and cheat and quit and cheat. So I went about 6 years, even as an anti-tobacco activist, still trying to find a way to cheat. I would go out and I'd come back smelling like a potpourri dish because I'd put cologne and mouthwash and breath mints and toothpaste. And I think we've probably all done that, And it took me about 6 or 7 years to really get a handle on it to where I'm saying, this isn't even worth it anymore. I'd go to do speaking engagements at a high school in Chillicothe, Ohio, or Chico, California. And as soon as I was done, I'd get back to the hotel and I'd have to go out and have a cigarette. Now, nobody knew it except me, and I took pains to painstakingly trying to find ways to cover up the smell of tobacco because it does permeate every pore in your body, and so it took me about 7 years. So my last cigarette, I did have a cigarette probably about 8 or 10 years ago. I went to a fishing trip and somebody had a cigar, but I hate cigars myself. So I said, give me a cigarette. What the hell? because I couldn't vape. I didn't know I had emphysema then either. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I'd been drinking, and I don't know, you guys probably don't drink or anything, but
No.
You probably don't drink or anything. But when you lose your faculties from drinking a little too much, sometimes you lose the ability to be a little bit more strict with yourself. So it was probably, to answer your question, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I had one, and I liked it. I did. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I wish if they told me you're dying 3 weeks, I'd smoke. I mean, that's how sick I was with it.
Well, so we had Dr. Charles Gardner on the show. It's been a while now, but he made this statement, and he's a smart guy. He says that if you quit smoking, it takes about 10 years for your lungs to really get back to healed. But even then, to touch on something that you said, it doesn't matter. We already smoked, and there will be long-term damages that occur. And you could, I have patients that quit smoking and haven't smoked for 20 years and get lung cancer.
Sure.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm just, I just want everybody to know. I mean, yes, the potential is always there. Like,
well, let me tell you something.
Everything possible that we can do to not die early. And even if we quit smoking, and everybody that's here and everybody that's listening understands that, I mean, we're adding days to our lives by not smoking. But I mean, there is still that potential in the future that, 20 years from now, they can say,
I was up in New York City when I first started having my episodes of not being able to breathe, and it was very scary. If you don't have emphysema or COPD, I can't relate it to anything other than somebody sitting on your chest. You've seen commercials where they're selling a drug for emphysema or COPD. It's like an elephant really sitting on your chest. You just can't get anything. It's not necessarily getting it in. You can't get the old air out. That was my problem. I couldn't get it out to get the new in. So my panic situation was real. So I went to the doctor, and then they told me that I have this alpha-1 gene, because I had to have a special test for it. It's genetic. You've heard of people, and you're a respiratory therapist, right?
No, I'm physical therapist.
Okay. They told me, they said, have you ever been tested for the alpha-1 gene? And I said, I don't know what that is. And they said, well, you got to be tested because you look like a candidate for that. I said, what is it? They said, well, you're genetically predisposed to not be able to make antitrypsin, which is a protein that comes through your liver that gets to your heart and to your lungs to keep them healthier. Okay, even in the best of situations, like the environment, smog and all that. That's why you hear people get lung cancer have never smoked. Okay, so they're saying now with all the new testing that they've been doing, I think it's fairly new. It's about 10 years old that they've really known about it. That you get tested. And if you have the alpha-1 gene, you may be a candidate for this new drug called prolastin, which is if you are antitrypsin deficient, where the protein's made in your liver, but if it doesn't leave your liver to get to your lung, you are more predisposed to get, bronchitis, pneumonia, COPD, emphysema, asthma, things like that. So this has become a PhD college education for me in the last 3 years of going through all this stuff. And they say, well, you definitely have the alpha-1 gene, and it's genetic. So my brother may have had it, which could have, expedited his cancer. My mother may have had it, or my father, we don't know, because we didn't know about it when they died. So they were never autopsied for it or tested for it. So now all of my kids are being tested for it. So there's new things that you can take now that will predispose you to have healthier lungs, because you've now got this synthetic prolastin, which is synthetic antitrypsin, which is a protein. So I'm in the second year clinical trials of it, and it's been around a while, I guess, but for me, because of the severity of my COPD or emphysema, because COPD is the blanket umbrella for everything. So they said, we'll try it, and we'll see if we can help you dodge a bullet for the double lung transplant, because my emphysema is moderate to severe. I got a lot of Swiss cheese in my lungs, So They're always looking for my pulmonary function test to see how I breathe. I'm now on a $400 a month inhaler called Trilogy Ellipta. It's the one that works best for me because it's not Dolera or Symbicort. I do have rescue inhalers, but you know what? I don't even have to use my rescue inhalers unless I do stupid shit. You know, like try to chase my 3-year-old terrorist grandson. You know, then I get brought to my knees like really quick. And that was what was so beautiful having my wife here helping me because we tag teamed a little bitch, you know. So, and I love them to death. So, and they know it. But I'm doing much better, guys. And the smoking was a killer for me. And I'm fortunate. I'm really blessed that I got a good doctor, and I'm working with Temple Lung. And you know, hopefully, I was able to get in touch with, you know, the situation early on, and because so many people right now are still smoking and they already may have the disease and they're just getting worse and worse because they don't know where to turn, you know, because they can't quit and they know their doctor's going to tell them to quit because their doctor's been telling them for 15 years to quit. You need to quit. And now they're helpless. And now these poor people have become anecdotes as people who are now expendable. And the government's allowing it. And so is Matt Myers, and so is the CDC and all the other people that have stood in the way of this wonderful opportunity to, you know, instead of embracing it, they have decimated it and turned it into a laughing stock. And it's really annoying to me. So, yeah, if I could talk to the people, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have wisdom and life experiences that a lot of people don't have. And I think I need to get it out there. And I wanted to do it with Kevin and you guys, you know, 2.5, 3 years ago, but you know, timing wasn't right. So maybe the timing is now, you know. So I mean,
So
I
Dave,
never. Huh?
I've got a question.
Can you hold 1 second? Hold 1 second.
But,
Talk amongst yourself. I got pee like really bad.
He's got a small bladder. He's got a small bladder.
He's got a small bladder. Big small bladder. All right, so we're going to use the Victor's share screen for a second.
Victor says that he's never seen me sit this quiet for so long. You need to watch the first episode that we had Dr. Glover on.
Yeah, go there.
Then you'll find you'll see how church quiet I was. That it was like even brought to our attention how quiet we were being.
I'm back.
Oh yes.
So I got a. So there you go. I shared that a while ago.
But you shared this one. I didn't see you do that.
Yeah, I did.
I'm not going
when
to
David was talking the first time.
Oh, I had the little one. I didn't know I did this one too. You said in 2014, watch the process take years to approve. You said in 2014, tobacco will become the monopoly they've been patiently waiting for. And you said in 2014, for those who don't know who David is, that the children will be protected and taxes raised for the sake of the public because the government created the illusion that they helped with transparency in public health. Now, a few minutes ago, you mentioned the AIDS epidemic, HIV. Should we, or is it too late, go after this just like the ACT UP folks did when we went out not smoking anymore? Is it that type of desperation that we need to go with? Because I've tried not to compare it to AIDS. I don't think it's, but now listening to you, yeah, it is. It's life-threatening things that are happening to people just like you, humans.
Mm-hmm.
So should we chain ourselves to the FDA's desk?
Yes.
They won't let us in. Yeah,
no.
They won't let us in.
Then you go around. You find another way in. You find something else to do. You never saw me go to the marches in Washington, which I applaud. Right. They were respectful, and I think they did the right thing. I didn't go. Number one, I haven't been invited, and that's another whole personal thing. You know, the industry didn't embrace me the way I wish they could have. And again, that's not an indictment. It's just that they had a different agenda than I did. You know, their agenda was to, you know, whether you're a consumer group, and I love Julie, and I love Alex, and I love Greg Conley, and you know, all the other people that, you know, got into this for the reasons that I was hoping that they would get into to create a larger and bigger and better army. it didn't happen because we were so focused on the infighting and the manufacturing in packaging and the people that were now going to these conferences. And you knew who was going to make it and who wasn't. Nature has a way of thinning the herd, and we've seen that. And you got the really, really wonderful distributors and the manufacturers who follow the rules, and they know who they are, and we know who they are because they're still around. So they were able to survive this. And then they started throwing everything else at us, and they weren't throwing Nerf missiles. They were throwing knives. They were we're fighting back with Nerf balls. We're trying to negotiate. We want to sit down and we want to talk. Then they give us that 2.5, 3 minutes at a legislative hearing in a city where they're trying to ban flavors or that's bullshit. You can't go in there and then wait for that 2 minutes and get your name out. Okay, what?
Oh, I'm just pointing at your head.
Oh, okay. I don't have my glasses. I used to go to these meetings and they say, well, you have 3 minutes, and they shut you off, and they don't even listen. They're either on their phones or talking. And I did it with Audrey Silk. Do you know Audrey up in New York?
Yep.
You've heard of Audrey Silk?
I know of her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she asked me to come up for a demonstration across from the city hall, and because I was also believing that smokers had rights too. I really did. And this is before the vaping thing came about. I was doing a lot of stuff to get the word out that says, hey, yes, smokers have rights as long as you're 18 or older. And, we can't let the tobacco industry go after those that are younger. And everybody agreed with me. Nobody was saying that a 13 or 14 or 15 or 16-year-old should smoke. Even the smokers who started at 13, 14, 15, and 16, because they knew already that they made a bad choice, because they were already feeling the effects of what smoking was doing to them, because now they're 23, 26, 30, and 35, so they knew what they're doing. So nobody was objecting to keeping kids off of tobacco. But my conflict of interest was, I'm telling you that's what $14 billion a year in advertising is doing to go after the 13, 14, 15s. And you know it, but you're not doing anything about it. So I was trying to play both sides of the fence, not for my own personal and financial gain, because I didn't get a nickel. I never got paid for doing any of this stuff, So Audrey Silk, brought me up, and she had me dress up in a Gestapo uniform with the jack boots and the armbands and the, because like Bloomberg was trying to be a Nazi, because he was that's when he was mayor of New York. So I tried to be all things to all people based on who I was, what I did, and what I knew, because I fit every poster that they were putting up. I was a consequence of what smoking does. I was a manipulator of what smoking can do. I was a child when they started. I was the marketing target. So everything that I was involved in was hitting on everything possible that the people I'm trying to fight, which included now American Cancer, Lung, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, American Legacy Foundation, Truth Campaign. But nobody's listening to Dave Gerlitz. I'm a nice guy. Oh, he's a nice guy. Yeah, he's got a nice story, but he's really not what we need to go into the OMB down in Washington and sit there and go talk to somebody who's an underling of somebody who's an underling of the underling who's sitting up in an office not giving a rat's ass. Because that's what it was all about. I would love to have been able to sit at that table with the PAVE moms. I would love to have been able to sit at the table with Tony Abood and Greg Conley with Trump when we had the opportunity to get some sort of media attention, because I do draw some media attention, but I've gotten away from that in a while. But that doesn't mean we can't go back. That doesn't mean we can't go back and fight the situation and the media, because I think they're even getting tired of their lies. You got people coming out now saying I should never have done what I did, like Cliff Douglas is now doing a 180. And there's a lot of people who want to do, I don't have to do a 180. I just keep going around in circles, because everything I say, it's the truth.
Yeah, then you're a dog chasing your tail after a while.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
One of the things that initially, when the very first rally was done in DC, we had oh my God, his name is just driving right out of my head. From North Carolina, Sherwin. We had Sherwin on the show.
Okay.
Sherwin came on the show and he's like, we're going to do this thing. And I'm like, one of the things that, because they were talking about doing something in Silver Spring at the FDA. And I said,
right,
what you need to do is just have toe tags printed up. of like with the names of people that had died from smoking. Sherwin, Mena. And obviously that didn't happen. But at this point,
we wanted to have a coffin, but they wouldn't let us.
No, I mean, what do you mean they wouldn't let us? I mean, this is the point now where I'm done asking for permission.
Amen.
I think we should
there's
No, we don't have to have a demonstration. All we need to do is print up get a whole bunch of fucking toe tags and put them in a garbage bag and walk up to the front of the FDA and tear the bag open and pour the fucking toe tags on the front steps of the FDA and walk away.
And the other things right now with everything going Zoom and all the other virtual stuff that's been going on in the last year and a half with COVID, nobody's going to. We don't even have to do public protests anymore. Even Cori Bush was one of 17 people that was sleeping on the step. Only 17 people, sleeping on the steps. They were trying to get the election, the bill that they were trying to pass yesterday, and they got it passed. So we don't have to do anything that grand. We could do it on YouTube. We could do it on the network.
Well, we were the first people to do a virtual demonstration for vaping.
I know.
We already did it for Florida. We can do it again.
Sure, you could, even on a larger screen.
I mean, seriously, obviously we're distributed. We're pretty well distributed this show. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a whole fucking crowd of people. Just print up a whole bunch. Somebody that lives in the DC area, we send them all these fucking toe tags and just have them walk up to the steps, tear the bag open, and pour it all over the front step. Right. Take a picture,
and let me go. I'll go with you. I'll be there. And
we don't have to. We don't have to be marching there with signs. We just need to make our presence known. This is what happened, and each one of these toe tags is a person that died that didn't have to.
Right. And I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think it worked. It worked with the Truth Campaign when they had, 1,200 kids just laying on the ground dead, playing dead, because that was their implication. 1,200 people die every day from smoking, and they were having these kids to do that. And
we're going to have to do this shit guerrilla because,
exactly.
I've said on this fucking show, I shouldn't say fucking show. On this show, I've said I'm at this point I'm not fucking joining any clubs. I'm not. I don't care what some organization says. I'm fighting my way, and y'all can either join in and participate, and if you like the idea that I have, but we're not going to have membership cards. We're not doing that. We're fucking scallywags on this show, and that's why we have the pirate flag. That's why we have what we do, because I'm done. I'm done asking permission. We did that.
Well, me too. That's why when I walked away
with the militia, we played nice and we asked. We organized and got in with the other groups, and if they said no, that's too far, we didn't do it. But at this point, we have literally, as far as I'm concerned, David, I don't know what your opinion on this is. We have until September, like the second week of September. As far as I'm concerned, that's doomsday. That's D-Day. That's the end of the line. I don't believe for 1 minute, and I know that there are people that are frantically working and busting their ass trying to get their independent PMTAs done. I don't believe for one fucking minute that at the end of the day, that FDA is going to approve a single one of the open vapor PMTAs. I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
They said.
This week, I spent a good amount of time reading the entire 45-page judge's verdict with the FDA lawsuit. I read it. He goes through a lot of time bashing the vaping industry and bashing the FDA. Basically, he's goes into a lot of detail explaining what enforcement discretion actually means. And I've said it on the show before. Even if the FDA wanted to be cool and say, hey, dude, you're working with us, so we're not gonna enforce on you right now, and blah blah blah. By definition of what that FDA ruling, or not FDA, the judge's ruling says, and I've shared it to a bunch of different people that I think are pretty smart. That judge's verdict basically says you can't make a policy that basically says what FDA is saying.
Right.
That it must be a case by case decision.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that, since that is actually in the legal verdict, that if the plaintiffs in that case basically said, "Hey, judge, FDA is not enforcing because they're saying that these people are trying,
right,
and they're going to let them stay in the market while they're reviewing their cases." That's not enforcement discretion, and you must, I believe that Truth and the American Pediatrics and all the people that signed on to that lawsuit are going to demand that the judge enforce,
do what you said,
word per word, what he said that they were supposed to do.
You concur, Kevin?
Yes.
You concur with that?
Yeah.
I don't think those people are going to let the FDA do that. And the judge pretty much put it in the fucking thing. Like I cut and pasted a lot of text. I sent it to Kevin. I sent it to Paul. I sent it to Dimitri. I sent it to a bunch of different people. And I just don't believe, that those people that sued the FDA are going to stand by and allow FDA to make a blanket decision like that. And that specifically in the language of that thing says you can't make blanket decisions and call it enforcement discretion.
Right. So what's the alternative going to be when that, if it goes that way?
That's it.
Yeah. I'm not going to let any fucking, I'm not, if I know that there's a person out there that is trying to quit smoking and can't because they don't have options, I have options.
I'm in.
I'm done with this kissing ass, and I don't have anything that they can take away from me.
Hey, what are they going to do to me? I'm at the point now where everything I said has been proven to be true. I've been vindicated on every turn. And that doesn't mean anything other than when they start vetting you. And they start vetting somebody who has the ability to communicate. And I do when I'm not tired. I'm tired today, and I've been through a rough week. And so I'm a little slow in my focus right now as far as being able to really get excited about things. So I'm with friends, and I don't have to get angry and upset and passionate. I mean, that just comes through by your personality. But yeah, I agree with you totally. I'm done too. I'm done playing games, and there's nothing they can do to me. I'm above the opinions that other people have of me. I could care less. You don't like me? Tough. I don't give a shit. I'm not looking to add new friends to my repertoire. I got enough friends right now that I want to get reconnected with, that I trust and believe, and let them be a part of my life. I don't need some legislator or lawmaker, kissing their ass to try to get them to help us do our job and help people live longer. I mean, I don't know how much more plain.
I don't own a business, and I'm not gonna make any fucking money. But I'll tell you what, if somebody that comes to me and says, "Dude, I want to quit smoking,"
yep,
I'm gonna help you quit smoking.
I mean, a couple of months ago, I'm saying these people already know what they can do to quit smoking. These people know where to go. They can do it themselves. They can do it DIY. But then I'm saying to myself, girl, you're succumbing to the frustration of what you've been through. Okay, that's not the case at all. People right now who really want to quit, they don't know what to do because they're on both sides of this fence either way because of the lies from the media and the horrible misinformation that's been coming out that no one has stopped them from presenting to them. That's been out there in the media, and the media is just as guilty as anybody else. So we have to be the new media. We have to be the new.
We are the new media. And
I know.
My shows are distributed on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. The audios go to about 40 different platforms. So somebody said to me, "Y'all, you need to decentralize your show so that they don't deplatform you." They can't fucking deplatform me. I'm on everything that you can be on.
Yeah.
And I won't be chased away. If they take me off of YouTube, I'll find somewhere else to go. I ain't going anywhere. Mike had to stop his show for a while. But Mike's got a lot of shit going on.
Right. Mike Peterson you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, somebody messaged me and they're like, dude, are you quitting your show? And I'm like, no. The tagline for my show has always been, we ain't fucking going anywhere. If I pay out of pocket for a lot of stuff. Nick Orlando and a couple guys gave us the money to keep us going this year. I'm selling fucking t-shirts. Whatever I can get to pay the bills to keep this thing going is what we're doing. I mean, I don't take.
What happened to the Monday morning show? Monday 20?
That's the Monday 20. That's the one of the Mike. That's Mike's show.
Okay.
They, Mike can't do the show. He's got shit to do, but Mike will be back. Mike was in the chat room a while ago. He will come back.
He's good people. Like I did. I had to step away for a while. You might have to step away too for a week or two.
If I need to take a day off, I'll take a fucking day off. But we're never leaving.
Crowley's like a hemorrhoid. He's always with you. I mean,
if something happens and all hell breaks loose and we fucking lose the war, guess what? We're going to be the voice of the fucking resistance. We're not going anywhere.
I'm not going well, and I'm alive and well. And the timing for me is perfect right now because I'm feeling really good. And I got the good news that I have, and my infusions are working, and my passion's coming back. And now I want to get reconnected.
David, I've mentioned on this show multiple times, and I don't have COPD, but working with the people that I work with, I have a lot of patients that have COPD, and to hear them describe how breathing is for them, like I've said. One of the worst ways, I've had people that have nearly drowned, for example, explain how horrifying that is to not be able to breathe. And then, people gasping for air, laying in a bed, using every bit of energy they have for one more mouthful of air. Not even a fucking lungful, one more mouthful.
And when
this is the worst fucking way for you to die, and your government is killing you.
And when you are breathing like that, and you're laying in bed, you're not strong enough to swallow food, then you start getting emaciated, and your body starts functioning. Starts failing in other areas with renal failure and kidney failure and bowel failure, and it's just a horrible, horrible way to go. So I'm gonna repeat what you said. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll be the voice of resistance with you. And I want to do the shows with Rob, once a week to get those kinds of people riled up and passionate. I want to do your show, my own show. I want to work with you guys and do what I can do. And that's why I think I don't think there's mistakes in anything we do. There's a reason why. Your guy canceled out tonight, and I was able to get on here and spill my guts a little bit because I've been sitting here week after week after week saying, you're walking away, you're giving up, and I'm saying, well, I had to give up to get my strength back and my passion back, and I think I'm there. So I believe right now in my situation, I have the time, I have the desire, I have the ability, I still can communicate. I haven't had a stroke where I can't, get my words out. I speak a little bit different than I used to speak. I'm not as clear because I got problems with dental and things with my teeth, and I got new partials coming in. So there's just a whole lot of shit going on that's going to now make me address it quicker because I want to get back in the saddle and do what I set out to do many, many years ago. And I'm not going to let the people who put me down, those who kicked me down, kicked me when I was down. You know what? They better pray to God I don't get up, because when I get up, they're going to be fucked. There's going to be a real awakening, and I'm going to do it in a kind way. I don't need to curse every 3 seconds, and I try not to, because I like my kids to listen to my shows and my grandkids to, so I just have to be a little bit more cautious. Not to mention I'm a preacher's kid, and I have to be a little careful because I have a lot of friends that, I don't want to turn off. I don't want to be all things to all people, and I don't want to be a phony either. So you be who you are. I'll be who I am. Let me do my thing, and Kevin does his thing very well, and I love you guys to death. So
Kevin's my Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
You brought up the WHO. You brought up I think it was COP5 that you were banned from.
7. I think it was 7. I don't know.
Was it 7? Because it jumps every 2. It's every 2 years. So it's every But anyway, they're doing.
Yeah.
The new COP is COP 9.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The what is it called? Council of the Parties, which is the 180 country meeting that you got kicked out of or you got banished from.
Oh, yeah.
So the FCTC, which is the only treaty that they have, that the WHO has, it's a treaty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share this on screen because I want I think everybody's seen this because I think we showed it a couple weeks ago. This is an old tweet, but this is how I don't want to say malpractice. This is essentially malpractice. So one of the primary articles of the FCTC, this is on the introduction. This is page 1, and it goes through the purposes of the convention. Now, if you scroll down to Article 1D, they define tobacco control, and it says means a range of supply, demand, and I highlighted it, harm reduction strategies that aim to improve the health of a population by eliminating or reducing their consumption of tobacco products and exposure to tobacco smoke. So right there in their documents, their founding documents for FCTC, they acknowledge that part of tobacco control is harm reduction.
Mm-hmm.
So they released last week, their itinerary for this next meeting because they do this every 2 years.
Yeah, it was COP7 that I got kicked out of.
Yeah, so this one that's happening now is COP9, I think. Yeah. And they released their itinerary. And part of the itinerary mentions a presentation on harm reduction. And it specifically says they're gonna distribute that information, but they're gonna hold off until the next COP to actually address that.
Yeah.
So
we'll worry about
we
that
acknowledge that harm reduction exists, and we're gonna give you the materials, but we're not even gonna talk about it for 2 years. We're not even gonna mention it. We're not gonna bring it up.
This is our plan, but we're not telling you what it is.
So 2 years from now, they're gonna say, "Oh, we don't have time, so we're gonna delay that until the next Council of the Parties, which is another 2 years away."
Right.
So, it frustrates me that people don't even see the blind incompetence of the WHO because
I do. I see it.
Well, we see it. Everybody here that's participating in this conversation, we all know that it exists. We all know that by their own founding documents, they're supposed to address this. They're supposed to acknowledge that harm reduction is a thing. And that they're just blindly ignoring it. They hope that they don't mention it, that nobody knows that it happens, that it's there, that it exists, that it's a real thing.
We need to be our own media. We need to be our own, and you brought it up. You are the new media. We're not going to count on them to do anything for us in the mainstream media. We've seen, they've shown their colors. We know where they come from, and it's not just because of the elections and all that with Trump and Biden and before that. They've been that way for a long, long time. They turned on me a long time ago, and I'm ready to fight back and just ignore them and just circumvent them. We can't go in the front door or go in the side door. Can't go in the side door. We'll go through the roof. We will go guerrilla. We'll be boots on the ground, guerrilla, and 72-year-old gorilla up front with me, with my jack boots on. Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, we talked about you climbing the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty or something. If I remember right.
Statue of Liberty. Either that or get kidnapped. And the Winston man gets kidnapped. And we can't find him. Where'd he go? The tobacco industry must have stolen him. They must and get a little media attention that way, because everybody loves a missing 71-year-old man turning 72 who's not healthy. And then I'll get some sympathy and some pity. But really, as far as the media, I'm done with them. My unhealthy disrespect for them, as well as the other people we've mentioned. But to go full circle, Patrick, the Cliff Douglas thing is a good idea. I'd love to just sit down with him, and just commiserate about what our plan was, because we're really not that far off from each other's personalities. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't out there trying to tell people to start vaping, and I wasn't trying to transition from smoking to vaping, other than addicted smokers. Had nothing to do with kids. So the American Lung Association started to put their foot down with me, saying certain things in schools about this and about that, and then they were starting to be in collusion with the tobacco companies. They were having their closed door meetings even before the MSA in 1998, 99. So the connections and the lack of transparency that they had with big tobacco was very apparent to me. I was very aware of what's going on, which is what got me into the vaping community in 2006 with a couple people that were starting with Enjoy. I guess Enjoy was coming on the market, and Hanlik, the inventor of it, I started hearing about it, and then they wanted me to be a spokesperson for them. Then I became the president of the TVECA, Tobacco Vapor Education. That was in 2007, but I only lasted about 2 weeks because I didn't get along with the people.
No.
Yeah. 2 weeks. I was TVECA president, and I replaced Matt Salmon, who was a congressman from Arizona, who was the president, because they started seeing that vaping is going to be a part of our culture as early as 2006, 7, and 8, when Enjoy came out with Matt Weiss. Is it Matt Weiss or Mike Weiss?
Matt. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I think so. But they started Enjoy, and I started to get really interested in the concept of vaping itself. And then, of course, you got all these other people from A Billion Lives that came out and told their story, with all the e-liquid, and then the new assembly lines that were coming on from Christian. I can't remember all these people anymore. They were in A Billion Lives. What was his name? Started making e-liquid in assembly lines. Johnson Creek, or was Creek?
Oh, was he in A Billion Lives?
Yeah. Johnson Creek?
Yeah, Johnson Creek.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was Christian, or
you're putting me in a position where I can't remember shit now.
It's rubbing off.
Well, you know who I mean, right?
I know him, yeah, because he like back in the old timey days, Johnson Creek sent me like e-liquid before they were Johnson Creek to test out.
I can't remember his name.
Well, anyway,
Jay Love has actually showed up before the end of the show this time. He always shows up like 3 seconds after,
Love.
As we're leaving.
Let's see.
Is he there now?
He's in the chat room now. He says, I hope you're feeling well, David. Great to see you. He says, Kevin, I love the backdrop. And yes, Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek. Well, Jay's pretty much with everything that's right with this business. He's the poster child for that, along with several others. But Jay has always been true to his employees and his word and his product. And he's just, like I said, everything that's right with the industry. I wish there was, 100 people like him doing it, but there
no JoJo's. We're not going anywhere right now.
JoJo's.
Joanne Mendez, Monkey's wife, from Australia. She just chatted. She just asked if we were leaving, and I said no.
Monkey's wife.
Yeah, Monkey, the guy that designed all of our stuff for the vaping.
I've been way too long, guys. I've missed too much fun.
Monkey. Armando Mendez.
Have you had Colin Mendelson on your show?
No, he's one of the wish list people.
Yep.
Wish list?
Yeah, he's on our wish list.
I'll get him for you.
I mean, I can get him on. I just
get him. Get him on. I like to talk.
We've had some amazing people on this show. I mean,
I know. Sometimes I
twice or 3 times now. We've had
he's trolling
Dr.
us.
Charles Gardner twice. We've had Dr. Marwa Glover 3 times. We've had Dr.
Elania.
Mark. We had Elania Bashkin from New Zealand on the show. We've had
Dr. Tyndall.
Dr. Mark Tyndall on the show. We've had.
I'm curious why. How come Charles Gardner and I have never communicated? He's in New York, right?
I don't know.
That would be another great conversation.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, Dr. Charles Gardner. Charles is starting his own podcast thing. So that's one of the reasons why we did the fundraiser was to get that man a microphone because he needs one.
I think Charles Gardner is a very intelligent man. I think.
Oh my God, he's awesome.
And I could learn a lot from him. We're obviously different people, but I think he's a good person, and I think he knows what he's talking about.
Think about this, David. Up until about 3-4 years ago, Charles worked in public health in other areas and wasn't even in tobacco harm reduction.
Right.
And in 3-4 years, he's been able to amass amazing amounts of information in tobacco harm reduction. Think where he's going to be like further down the road. I mean, he's an amazing thinker, and he thinks like we do. Like he finds information the same way I do. He's got a Twitter thread where he's accumulated comments from over 50 different world public health organizations making pro-vaping comments, even though they make anti-vaping. They have anti-vaping stances, which is hilarious. I think.
Right.
Charles is, an amazing human being, and he's now like one of the big dudes at Inco. So,
Well, these are the kinds of people that need a platform that work in conjunction with your platform, whatever my platform tends to be when I get it going and up and running. Because I'm prepared to do it. Start out with Vape Radio, get on their show a couple times a week, be a guest on their show for that particular group to get that element of listeners involved and excited again, because everybody's feeling discouraged and depressed and down, and there's just so much bad news all the time. You get one step forward and get knocked back 5, and getting back up is, like you said, you're chasing your tail all the time. So there's people out there that I would love to get back in touch with and be a part of what they're doing if I can help, if I can assist in any way based on my history, because I really want to get the word out, and I want to do it with people smarter than I am. I have a lot of wisdom, but I don't always have the right words to say to get that wisdom out, because I get so excited and I talk a lot. And I talk fast.
But your eye candy.
Yeah, somebody said in the chat room that Colin called up to jump this show. He's not reached out to me. If he wanted to come, all he has to do is hit me up in the DMs on the Twitters or private message me on Facebook, and I'll send him the link. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, I spent some time in Australia with Simon Chapman over there, and Paul Blameyer we've had conversations with when I was over there, and Simon Chapman owes me money because he was going to take me out to dinner when I was on tour there, and he didn't have any money, so I had to buy him dinner. So Simon Chapman is, right?
Yes.
So I mean, Chipman.
The chimp man doesn't like me very much.
He finally blocked you.
He blocked me.
I had to get my drink.
Good.
I was getting parched.
Good.
I was getting parched. So anyway, what's coming up for you guys next?
Same shit. We're gonna be fighting. We're gonna do what we have to do to keep doing what we do, and we're gonna try to save as many fucking lives as possible.
Well, can you bring me up to date on what's happening with AVA and VTA? And
obviously, I follow my friend on Twitter. Greg's still doing great things. I can't as far as there goes, I don't know that there's anything other than he was on supposedly he was supposed to be on CNN a couple weeks ago with Cuomo, the other Cuomo, and that he kept getting blowed off. He kept getting blowed off by the Cuomo because there was other things going on.
Those Cuomos.
VTA is doing nothing. They're no longer liquid. I mean, all their big members backed out and didn't pay their dues. They can't do their job if there's nobody paying the bills.
Is it still functioning though?
I got an email from them like a week, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Is Tony still running it?
Well, he's still running it, but he's running it for free. There's no fucking money. There's no money. You know, it is what it is. I mean, all the shit that they did costed money, and
yeah,
you know, when their big members jump ship and don't pay,
sure.
You know.
Well, how about CASA? What's going on with that? Are they doing anything?
Well, CASA is still doing CASA. They have their own podcast every Saturday afternoon. They're you know, great people, love them to death. But you know, they work in their own way, and you know, sometimes I feel like we need to be aggressive, and you know, they can't be. So that's what that's what we're for. We're going to do the aggressive things. We're going to do the things that maybe they don't or can't do because they're more professional than Kevin and I.
A little.
You know, as far as that goes, I saw that you know, Safada's still doing what they're doing, and I think they're moving more into a counseling sort of compliance sort of role where they're working on helping people do PMTAs. You know, they're trying to stay alive and do what they can do to help people stay alive.
How many PMTAs
I got no problem.
How many PMTAs have been approved? You know,
zero
so far.
None. Zero.
I saw some people were getting letters saying that they got.
Well, they're getting getting letters. They're getting letters saying that they've passed the first step.
Oh, okay. See, again, I admit I've been out of it for a while.
As far as I know, none of the open vapor PMDs are even complete. There's certain regulatory steps that have to be done. There are certain parts of the PMTA that they still haven't worked out how to do, and they're doing those things. But no PMTA except for the big tobacco ones are even complete. I believe that most of them are doing step 1, step 2, step 3, or whatever, and they're there's maybe 20 steps or whatever. I'm just throwing that out there, and they're on step 3. Most of them are receiving letters saying, we have accepted your PMTA, or we have filed your PMTA. There's different. There's a color bar on the FDA's website that each color means a different thing, and they're just on the second step of the PMTA. They still, a lot of them still have all sorts of, there's science and stuff that has to be submitted that they're still working on how to do it.
Okay.
So as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I think that they're possibly, maybe Avail, Victor says that maybe Avail, I believe Avail sent a complete PMTA. I don't know. They're working with a compliance, a legal compliance organization / company that may or may not have had submitted their science. But there's a lot of that the open guys are still trying to work out how to do, and how to do it in a cost-effective manner. I still feel like a lot of these guys are doing that, and I think the deck's been stacked. You said this before. Mallory says that there was one company. So there's like 6 or 6.5 million PMTAs that have been submitted, David.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware of that, but
yeah, I knew
one
company millions, but I didn't know how many.
One company submitted 4.5 million PMTAs and got a letter saying that their PMTAs were rejected. Now, that doesn't mean they're dead in the water. I believe that the grounds for why their PMTAs were rejected can be corrected and they can resubmit. So I don't think that that's done. I think that FDA found a flaw that allowed them to reject a massive amount of their workflow all at one time, and they did it as a headline.
Mm-hmm.
We've rejected $4.5 million or 4.5 million PMTAs all in one fell swoop to show that we are doing
something.
Doing something. Yeah. Yeah. I just misunderstood something I read that I thought somebody had gotten approval on it, and
no PMTAs have been
so this is 2 parts,
rejected.
Dave, at this moment. To me, you said, do I agree with Patrick of what he says of September, or I'm sorry, September 9th.
I think I said concur.
Do I concur?
Concur.
I do, and I concur with you on occasion. We've also disagreed, but when you have all these things going on, and I look back to your 2014 statement, the deck's stacked. You're gonna have the closed systems coming in eventually, and then everybody else is screwed. So I'm looking at what you said. I'm looking at what Patrick has predicted as well, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm with two geniuses. You know.
Well, the die is cast. The deck is stacked. The cast has been chosen. Okay, and all I can tell you is I knew this. I felt it. I heard about it. They talked about it, and they shouldn't have talked about it in front of me, because now I'm trying to get that out to the public, but the public needs to give a damn, and right now they don't care. And I will always never forgive myself for a billion lives when I said nobody cares. Right. What I should have said was not enough people care, because there are certainly people who do. Okay, and I wanted to correct myself every time I try to remember what I said. I try to rephrase that, because I don't want to, because you always get somebody that says, well, I care. Well, I don't want to be discounted for making the wrong statement. So not enough people cared in the beginning. And we saw the outcome of what happened when we didn't have a big army to fight the bullshit that was going on with the media and the government and the medical community and the anti-tobacco people like nonprofits. So I have an in with you guys. I have an in with several people that I really, really respect in the industry, and I would like to get reacquainted with them, including Charles Gardner, including Cliff Douglas, including people that can make a difference. Not just some legislator or lawmaker who's going to put it on his or her agenda to discuss with their underlings, because it's never going to go anywhere. Okay, I saw how many people worked so hard for 2 and 3 years. With Shell Hamill going in and fighting the good fight the best she could, and so many wonderful heroes that were unsung. And I didn't want to be the person to come in and be the pole dancer at these conventions, and be entertainment. I never saw myself as that, but I didn't throw myself into the ring early enough and more aggressively enough to get people to do it. I think a better and more strategic way, with a little more aggression than they were using. So that's where we differed in our ideologies. I just thought we needed to be louder and more vocal and angry, nice and courteous, but angry, and let them know that we're not going to take this line down. And that's what we wound up doing, so.
Yeah.
So I want to continue to do what I'm doing, and I want the help of you guys. I'm going to ask for your help. I'm going to ask for your guidance. I'm going to ask for your ideas and your wisdom, because I got to get back into the research and all this, so I can talk a little bit more intelligently about the industry and not just myself, because I'm tired of talking to myself. I'm sick of myself. I take me wherever I go, and that's why I'm going to write a new book. Kevin, you know my book, right?
Which one?
I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I.
And so am I. Yep.
I'm going to write a book. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. So.
And then, are you going to answer the question, "Who do you think you are?"
Who do I think I am? I'm going to refine myself. I don't know who I am yet. I mean, I know my name. I know it's me because I hear my voice and I'm wearing the same underwear. So I know it's mine. So I do know it's me. But I'm still fun. I'm still happy to, be a part of something that I feel good. But, I want to do something until it's not fun anymore. I really don't want to do that where it becomes a detriment to my health. It's not fair to my family or myself, So I got to do it with people smarter than me, which I include you guys in that, because you're good at what you do, Kevin. Yep. I'm not trying to blow smoke. Patrick, you got a gift, and that is in your technology, which I don't have. My technical skills are nil. I tried to be a people person, and I started losing that in the last couple of years. So I want to get that back, because that's who I am. That's what I want to be.
So speaking of info, hey,
we're
going to bring info. We're going to bring info real quick. So this is a scientific study, David, and the title is Dependence on Nicotine in U.S. High School Students in the Context of Changing Patterns of Tobacco Product Use. So this is from January. This is not a new study. This is from January. So I'm just going to skip all the way down here to the conclusions. And it says, among U.S. high school students, increases in the prevalence of nicotine product use from 2012 to 2019 do not appear to have been accompanied by a similar increase in population burden of nicotine dependence. This may at least partly be attributed to a shift in the most common product of choice from cigarettes, on which users are most dependent, to e-cigarettes, on which users are least it says least dependent. So what they're basically saying in this study is smoking cigarettes is addictive and people have a hard time quitting. But guess what? Kids are using vaping products now, and it seems that their use of these products is actually not showing the same dependence levels or patterns as smoking, and they are easier to quit than cigarettes.
Yep.
But there's a huge youth vaping epidemic.
Yeah.
There's a huge vaping epidemic, David.
And
but yet we have the
those.
science that shows there can't possibly be, because this science says, hey, we're not seeing huge nicotine dependence across population levels in U.S. high school students. And this could probably be because, yes, kids are using e-cigarettes more commonly than smoking, which is bad. And they're easier to quit and less dependence, less habit forming or whatever than cigarettes.
If my kids were 16 and they were going to smoke or vape, of course, I would rather they vape. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, the media, sound bites that they used, and the epidemic, and the EVALI, and the lung issues they had with the what was it? What was in it? What was the vitamin E? Is it
vitamin E acetate?
Acetate, yeah. So I mean, when they start using these medical terms and EVALI and lung issues, and they lie, kids are also going to now say, "Hey, I'm going to try this stuff," but it is easier to quit. Because if you're only doing 8 milligrams of nicotine instead of 16, or you're doing 0 nicotine and you just want the flavors to be cool, which was a lot of kids were doing, and that we all know the Juul story when it was a high net content and it was, getting kids hooked all the time with higher levels of nicotine. I know a lot of kids that go to my grandkids' schools, and they were vaping, but they were vaping 0 nic, or very low levels of nicotine. So yeah, when they got tired of it not being cool anymore, they were able to put it down and throw it away and not want to go out and spend the money. So, I've always been, not necessarily fighting for kids not to vape, because I think kids are going to do what kids are going to do, number one. But I also look at the data that I've been reading prior to my walk away for a while there in the last 2 years. My concern was always the addicted smoker who, couldn't quit and couldn't find a way, because I knew what the consequences were going to wind up. So that was my focus for a long time. And of course, the media took hold of the e-liquid for the kids and the Juul problems and everything else. So yeah, I don't look at studies the way you do, Patrick. You have to, because that's what gives you the content for your shows. Mine is more of a gut kind of a feeling, which I predicted in 2011 and 2014 and 2016, because of the knowledge I have of the assholes that are,
You're pretty good at predicting things, though.
I am pretty good. Pretty good at predicting things. My name is David Nostradamus Gerlitz. Maybe I should come. But my predictions were just based on common sense and logic, guys. And I knew this. I knew how the tobacco companies worked and how our government works and how our lawmakers work. They don't care. But I think what we need to do is, with all the focus we've had on COVID in the last year and a half, and the attention has gotten away from, the flavors and the nicotine. And, that's why Aaron got frustrated, I guess, with You Don't Know Nicotine, because it came out right when, the COVID pandemic was rampant and he couldn't get the show out there and he had to do it outside. And it's very frustrating for people who work their asses off to try to get, compassion for people because you're good at what you do. Because that's what I do. You do what you do, Kevin. Patrick, you do what you do. I do what I do. And let's try to come up with some common ground that's going to get the same message out to different people, because people are going to listen to you, Patrick, more than they're going to listen to me. Other people are going to listen to me more than Kevin, you know? So I just think there's got to be a collage of people who need to come together, which has always been my problem from the get-go. The only time I saw, VTA or Safada, other than Mark Anton, and, they're all good friends of mine. I love them dearly. The only time we got together was at a convention, and we'd sit down and we'd, shoot the shit and talk about what's going on. But it was always ended with, well, let's hope we can do this again sometime, because we're always on the edge of doom. We were waiting for the next shoe to drop, to where somebody else was going to lose their store and somebody else was going to have to sue, and then we're going to have to go to court, and then we're going to have to lobby in Washington, then we're going to have to march in Washington, and people working their asses off like Sherwin did down in North Carolina, and and Tristan and all the people that really gave it a the old college try, but didn't get the support that they needed from the people that we needed, which is the media. So
I would give,
in my opinion,
I would give my left pinky toe, which is a very important toe. I really don't care about the media. We need the attention of people that don't smoke, that don't vape.
Yeah.
Those are the people we need, because if you got them on your side, if you get the public on your side, if you get these people that might have an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a mom, or a dad that did indeed die from smoking on our side, if we were finally able to get the real information about vaping to their ears or eyes, and get them to understand that we're not the devil, that vaping is not the same thing as smoking, that vaping potentially could save billions of lives in the future, and they actually believed it and understood it and knew that these vaping companies that are just fighting to keep their doors open so that they can offer alternatives to smokers, if we could get them on our side, then we could win this thing. It's not the media. It's not Chris Cuomo that we need to get on our side.
No,
that guy's got his head up his fucking ass.
No. When I talk about the media, when this became very popular and people were quitting smoking, and we had 8 million, 9 million, however many million people we had, we were getting wonderful news from the Royal College of Physicians in the United Kingdom. Okay. It was the greatest news, 95% safer, not 100% safe, but safer. Our media wasn't picking up on, that's what I'm talking about. The media could have been more helpful. That's all I'm saying. We don't need them now.
It's not the media's fault. It is the media's fault, because they're looking at their advertisers' dollars. They're looking at people like Michael Bloomberg, who spend millions of dollars with his business to advertise on those networks, who would not allow. He put a fucking embargo on vaping information. I do want to say one thing, David. Yes, it would be great if Netflix or HBO would buy Aaron's documentary and air it on their networks. You can't make them buy Aaron's documentary and air them. The offers were made, it was out there circling, and they chose not to pick them up. You can't make them offer that. He can't just say, here, take my documentary and put it on. That's not how it works. And,
I know.
He had media buyers attempting to put it into those networks, and they didn't jump. They didn't take it.
Well, we got to circumvent that. Like I said,
Netflix has 2 anti-vaping documentaries on Netflix. I don't think that they're going to host 2 anti-vaping documentaries and then turn around and post and host a pro-vaping one. He couldn't make them buy them. As much as I would love that, it is what it is, and it's available on IBEX, and that's the only way we can get it out there, and we just got to get more people interested in that platform so that they can see it. It sucks. It is what it is.
All I'm saying is that everything we should have done, could have done, would have done, didn't do, because it was circumstances that were stopping us, like the media, telling us that vaping was bad. And that's what the people were hearing. And the people that you want to get are the same people I want to get, which is the non-smokers, the people who have somebody that they're trying to save. Because you know what happens, guys? When somebody dies, okay, in the family of lung cancer or something caused by smoking, the first thing they do is feel guilty because they weren't able to, love them enough to get them to quit to live longer for their kids and their grandkids. So they join up and volunteer for American Cancer, American Lung, to make sure that they're doing something that's going to make them feel at least like they made an effort to fix the problem, because they couldn't fix them when their loved one was alive. Okay. I want to try to get the people before they get sick, to where they can make the alternative, option and make it the transition with the quality products that are going to make people want to, vape, because people do like flavors. People should like flavors. I like flavors, even though I can't taste anything because of the stroke that I had, which is another story. But when people get their taste buds back after quitting smoking, and they're able to now get a sense of smell again, and they like the smell of caramel or fruity flavors or something that, they now feel like it's a dessert. It's enjoyable. Nobody will want to go back to tobacco because it's disgusting. The time that I tried smoking, when I quit smoking, and then 10 years later I tried it, I about threw up. I didn't enjoy it the way I did when I was 17-year-old, sneak it in the bathroom in high school, because it was a part of my rebellious stage. People, when they quit smoking, if they can stay off them with a good vape device that fits their needs, fits their stress levels and all that, and the flavor that they enjoy, they're not going to want to go back to tobacco unless you take it away from them, and then they have no alternative. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make now with education, is as we got to look at all of the avenues necessary to keep this product alive, keep this product available and enjoyable and affordable. So how do we do that? Well, you need a team of experts. You need a team of people who know what they're talking about. One person's not going to make a difference. It's going to have to be a group. And I thought we had that 5 years ago. I thought we were on the cusp. I thought we were ready with the groups of people we had, at the VTA and with CASA and with Greg Connolly and lawyers and Greg Troutman and all the people who were trying to,
You said the name that shall not be mentioned on this show.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but Greg Troutman has never done anything worth a damn that did anything except for himself.
All right. Well, all I can
he's a racist, misogynist piece of shit.
I'm just telling you that he was a part of the industry early on. He was doing some amicus briefs, and I was learning some things from him. So we've changed the subject right now because I don't need to get into that kind of a pissing contest, based on my lack of knowledge for your anger. There's anger management for that, It's called the high road. Take the high road, So, you know what I'm talking about. My whole point is that we had a good shot at this. I want to get the shot back.
Yep.
I want to be able to go back and let's rebuild. The guy. Remember the movie Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Do you remember the guy who wrote it? I forget his name now. I looked it up.
Frank Baum.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know that 10 publishers turned the book down before he found one to print it? 10. 10. So, we may not do the right thing first, but you have another try. It was, who was it? Thomas Edison. He said he failed 2,000. He didn't fail 2,000 times. He just found 2,000 ways that didn't work. That's all. And then all it takes is one.
ways not to make a light bulb.
That's right. How to make it. So I'm just telling you, there's ways that we can do this now that I'm back, in my opinion, and I'd like to get back into the fire and into the ring of fire and throw my hat in and let people like the Five Ponds people and let people who are out there doing the right thing for the right reasons and the Bo McCoys and all the other people who want to continue to educate and have their stores open. Yeah, make a buck. Yeah, pay your bills. Yeah, go on vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. Look at Joel Osteen. He's doing quite well for himself. So, he's making a buck. So all I'm saying, I don't make any money. I love Pinnacle because they kept me off the streets, by letting me have my brand of CBD and my e-liquids, So And I love those people, but things weren't right because they were transitioning over to hemp, through Pinnacle Hemp and distributions, and so
I actually saw a post today on Twitter that worried me a little bit because a lot of my friends that were in vaping have moved on to CBD and other things, and I saw something that said that the FDA is going to go after CBD.
Sure they are, because now it's another tax revenue source for them. And the other thing with CBD, there are some people, just like in e-liquids, that made shit juice. There were some people.
Well, no, they're basically saying that it doesn't fall under the nutraceutical pathway that they've been using, and that they're going to go after them for it's not a supplement. It's actually the main ingredient in a pharmaceutical drug that has already gone through the medical pathway.
Right.
So they're going to go after CBDs because they're selling unapproved medical products.
Well, yeah, it's going to happen like anything else, So they have to have something to fight all the time. And right now, the distraction we've had in the last 2 years with the COVID thing, or year and a half or whatever it's been, has given a lot of leeway for people to slip shit in, to where they can now go after something else.
Well, the same bad actors that were bad actors in the e-liquid world, and there are still. I mean, I'm not defending the entire industry. I'm defending and fighting for the guys doing it right, just like you said a while ago.
Me too.
There are bad actors in every fucking thing.
Right.
And those same guys saw that their boat was sinking, so they jumped into another boat, and they're going to poke holes in that boat.
That's right. And the good people are going to have to fight to go down. And then that's when the frustration level starts. And that's why people go postal, because we get so upset with doing the right thing all the time, and I don't know if you're spiritual or not, or you're agnostic, or, my spiritual side has been questioned based on many things. I believe in certain things, but I do believe that good will prevail. I used to believe that a lot more than I do now, but I still want to believe there's a part of me that, good overcomes evil. I don't know if that's true or not. If you believe that, there's a lot of evil people out there. You know what? Hell is empty right now, guys, because all the devils are up here, So I don't know what to say to people who, ask me how I am right now. People say, "How are you?" I don't know how I am. I'm living. I wake up in the morning, but I love loving people, and I haven't been able to love a lot of people in the last couple of years. That's my problem. But
no, I mean, I still have every confidence that at the end of the day, which may be 20 years from now, we're going to be acknowledged as the good guys.
Yep.
And after every small mom and pop company that has been busting ass over the last 10 years to save people's lives are fucking shuttered and closed and in the poorhouse, then they're going to come out and say, "Oh, you know what? We were wrong the whole time. Vaping is safer than smoking, and people should
I know.
Should have these options." And then at that point, Big Tobacco is going to go, "Hey, we got millions and billions and all this money in the world that we can offer these products to you."
Well, that's been their strategy all along, and I tried to tell people that, and they didn't want to listen, and that's their prerogative.
I mean, we knew in April of 2014 when the original open comment period for the deeming occurred. People don't realize how long ago that was. They released the first ANPRM in April of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their whole ANPRN period. In their financial impact statement in 2014, they said, "We fully expect 99.9% of this industry to exit."
Yep.
They fully expected that. They also stated they only expected to receive maybe 20 PMTAs.
A handful.
That's 6.5 million.
We did stick mud in their eye and submitted 6.5 million. But in my opinion, and I've said this many times, FDA can't and doesn't want to regulate that many products.
Nope.
There's no government agency in America that could regulate that many individual products. They don't want to, and they can't. They physically realistically cannot regulate that many products. So they're going to do everything possible to whittle it down to the number that they think that they can regulate. All these people that are in open vapor that are doing every damn thing that they can to try to protect their product and try to get their product through.
Not gonna happen.
I don't believe for 1 second, no matter how hard you work and how good your work is, I don't believe that they're going to let it happen. I could be wrong. I've said this before. Every once in a while, I say something that isn't right, or isn't truthful, or whatever. And that's not true. I always speak the truth.
So, Matt, can I ask you a question?
I don't believe that they're going to let any of those products through.
I tend to agree with you, but with what's happening in Australia, is it a done deal where you have to have a script now for
October 1st? I think
October
is the
1st?
actual deadline.
And what about other parts of Europe?
No. I mean, the TPD and that still exists. They have TPD 2.0 coming out,
right?
But they're still mostly available in Europe. I mean, there are some countries that make you buy the nicotine separately and add it in, and you have one shots and all that stuff. But that's still, it's doable. It's doable. In Australia, I think there's probably, I don't know, Paul can answer in the chat room. He's in the chat room. There's probably somewhere between 6 and 10 GPs that have agreed that they will write prescriptions.
All right.
I've seen a lot of Aussies, mentioned in the chat room, and even in my intro, there's a clip of a video of Senator Holly Hughes.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
That was on our show, and there's a comment that flashes on screen during that show that says basically, my GP said he would never write me a prescription for nicotine.
Nice.
There are doctors in Australia that don't even know that they have to write a prescription, or that they have the option to write a prescription. As far as I'm concerned, the TGA in Australia has done nothing to communicate with their GPs on what the protocol will be for them. And I know a lot of doctors, I work in healthcare. Paul says October 1st is the start date, and they have a $220,000 fine if they catch you. They have certain number of points, and each penalty point is a certain dollar amount. So it's crazy. Colin Mendelson posted a tweet a while back showing the breakdown of the fines. It's crazy to me that these assholes. I work in healthcare. Doctors will not write a prescription if there's not a treatment protocol for them to follow.
Right. So
and most doctors, and 80% of doctors in the world, not just in America, not just in Australia, but if you fucking follow the numbers, 80% of doctors believe that nicotine causes cancer.
All right, so you don't need a prescription for a pack of cigarettes in Australia.
No.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear, though, because what I've been hearing, a lot of people are confused by that. And somebody said that,
no jail time, no fines, no nothing.
No fine. Okay, so I'm saying Kevin brought up something very early on in this discussion tonight, and when he asked me what's our end game, what's the go? Do we go nail ourselves and chain ourselves to the FDA desks? We got to do something. We got to do something that's going to be a global scale, okay, to where everybody's singing from the same song sheet. Okay, sing baritone, sing bass, sing soprano, sing alto. I don't give a shit. Okay, but everybody's got to be singing from the same page on a global scale. Like they are against us, we need to come together on a global, but we never will. I know we're too busy. How do you get people in Europe and then in Australia and then third world countries? It's difficult when you got the WHO that's got everybody scared and running. Rampant.
And you've got Bloomberg spending billions of dollars worldwide going into these third world countries, and we've talked about it. I don't know if philanthro-colonialism, or the word I use is philanthro-racism. He goes into these countries and says, if you pass laws that do what I want you to do and ban vaping, I'll write you a check for $1 million.
Right.
And these poor countries who
Eat it up.
literally don't have any fucking money, they're taking it up. They're pulling it up. I mean, in the Philippines, they at least have acknowledged the fact that this occurred, and they're doing investigations and possibly going to go after Bloomberg for because they have laws that prevent outside people that are not Filipino from affecting their government.
Correct.
And that's the way every country should be. Every country should not be following the whims and the wishes of somebody that's not a fucking citizen of their country.
Right.
I mean,
is there anything going on with Derek Yuck and his $1 billion or what's left of
I mean, people blast Smoke Free World because it started. I mean, we don't, but I don't particularly.
I don't blast him.
I don't blast him. I think he's trying to do the right thing, and he's.
I guess what I'm asking is, what are they doing? Have you heard? That's what I've been out of the loop.
I mean, he's funding a lot of things. Filter Magazine, for example, which is the writer that was supposed to come on the show tonight, was started with Smoke Free World money.
Mm-hmm.
We have friends that are scientists that have taken money from Derek Yuck's foundation to do science. A lot of people. I've gone off on a rant on this. If the science is sound, it doesn't matter who fucking pays for it.
That's right.
But
well, I took a lot of heat when I defended Derek and I defended Smoke Free World. Originally,
I've on Twitter. I've never met Derek Yuck, and we're not friends or anything. But I have reached out to him on Twitter to try to get him to come on the show. I'd love to interview him.
Well, I got nasty with Aaron and Derek in the very beginning when they got the $1 billion from Philip Morris International or whatever it was. I think it was them. And all the money and I got really pissy because I didn't understand, because I didn't allow myself to research the whole thing. And then eventually, within very short hours, I called Aaron and apologized to Aaron Biebert and also Derek, because I said I misspoke. I was wrong. I judged too quickly without having my facts. I yell at my kids for doing that. And from that point on, I've been trying to follow what's been happening and what good he's doing with it. And I haven't been able to, with my personal circumstances, I haven't been involved as much. That's why I was just asking for a quick thumbnail from you guys.
I mean, obviously, Smoke Free World is I don't know. I mean, for a better word, it is an incubator. I mean, that's what it is. The people, they got money to do good things with, and part of that doing good things is starting or helping Filter Magazine start. It's helping Aaron make some films about stuff or whatever. It's I don't know that Smoke Free World is actually doing anything other than being sort of the wallet to start all these different things, trying to make the world smoke free.
They've given
at a certain date
grants,
or whatever. They've given plenty of grants and seed money and all that.
Dr. Glover got, I think, one. I'm not sure if she's got more than one, but at least one grant.
She accepted a grant, and then they fucking tried to cancel her because she took money from Derek Yuck and Smoke Free World.
Yeah. So if they're giving money to people to do things without influencing those outcomes, I was kind of going like this too. Wait a minute, hang on. I don't know if I was at your level, Dave, but I was like, wait a minute, how can this happen? And then once you read what their mission was, you go, oh, okay.
I was at the level for a couple hours. It was a knee-jerk reaction. That's all it was, because I was so heavily invested in 1 billion lives, and with Derek's knowledge, and I just didn't gather enough information before I opened my big mouth. Okay, and so my apologies came out very quickly to both, because I couldn't understand. The Aaron's going to take money to make movies, and I just put my name. It was kind of like when I became the face for Von Earl, and I'm all over. And then without knowledge, I find out that I'm now working for Imperial Tobacco that owns R.J. Reynolds again. So now I'm back working for the tobacco company.
So David, I have defended Fontum on this show, because when that meeting happened in the White House, it was Fontum that was the most of the big players, the most vocal protecting flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And the guy said, look, my company really doesn't make that many, but we understand that flavors is one of the most important things to help people quit smoking. And we want people to quit smoking.
Well,
so,
because they own Blue. They bought Blue, so they wanted flavors.
But Blue doesn't make that many.
No, I agree.
And
I don't fault Fountain. I don't fault anybody anymore who's trying to make a buck. The only people I fault are the people that I work for who told me my job was to get kids smoking. So there I have a personal hard on for those people that told me to do that, and I went along with it because I was as greedy as they were. So I could, huh? What?
The poor, the young, the black, and the stupid.
The young, the poor, the black, and the stupid.
Young, poor, black, stupid.
So, but my whole point is I don't indict anybody anymore who's trying to do something, whether they made a mistake or not. I just think the motives, when I hear that they want, at Philip Morris International wants to eliminate combustible tobacco in Europe in 10 years, I'm like, great, but why not do it tomorrow? That's all. Yep. I mean, okay, if you're that serious about it, why wait 10 years? Why wait 10? You're gonna lose how many more millions of people in those 10 years while you're waiting to get your bottom line together?
They gotta make a couple more $1 billion, David. Come on.
What's that?
They got to make a couple more $1 billion in the next.
Well, okay, but let's not give them pats on the back and rewards for. And I know you're not, but I'm just saying the world looks at the media and says, well, now Philip Morris wants to do good work, but in 10 years they're going to, I remember when CVS Pharmacy, remember CVS about 6 years ago, stopped selling cigarettes behind the counter. They made this big grand announcement, okay, that I think they made it in April, and they said, in October, we're going to stop selling cigarettes. Well, if you made the announcement April 10th, why didn't you just take them off the shelves April 11th? Why are you going to wait? What's the reasoning for waiting 6 months or 5 months, whatever it was?
Because it makes a good headline.
Huh?
It makes a good headline.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. It's all greed versus fear. They're just blowing smoke, and the people who are accepting it are the sheep. We're all a lot of people are sheep. I'm not a sheep anymore because, again, I'm like you guys. I don't give a rat's ass.
See, my thing about tobacco companies, I think people have the right to smoke a fucking cigarette if they want to.
Sure, if you're 18.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe that. I as long as I don't think there's anybody on this fucking planet or on this planet that believes that smoking is good for them.
Patrick, do you know anybody 30 years of age right now that doesn't smoke personally?
Yeah.
What are the chances of that 30-year-old starting smoking tomorrow? Slim to none?
Nil.
Okay, well, maybe a divorce situation, maybe an alcoholic.
They might become an alcoholic.
Okay.
People would be more prone to picking up a bottle than they would a cigarette.
You know what? If everybody who smokes started after 18, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me. You would not hear a peep out of me. Never would have. But when they planned and strategized to get the young, the poor, the black, and the stupid, okay, they're by their own admission. I find that offensive now that I'm a father and a grandfather and an older man suffering the consequences of what I fell for. So I'm not saying eliminate it altogether. You never will. My whole thing was, if you want to, we got rid of asbestos. Why can't we get rid of tobacco that killed, all the same bullshit that you hear from everybody all the time. Well, because it's political and it's about money. Okay. So in the meantime,
and the government agreed to never do it. David.
And they agreed to never do it. And they got rewarded for it, by all the money that's now going to go to the 46 states on top of the 4 that got their money first. So, these are things that the public doesn't know. And you talked about that 10 minutes ago. You want to get the people who don't smoke because they're clueless, Patrick. The people who don't smoke don't have a clue because we haven't been able to get the word out, okay? Other than when I quit smoking in 1988, I was on CBS This Morning. I was on NBC Live. I was up, they ran me around like crazy. But now, since it's not important anymore because they got their hands slapped by the advertisers, whether it be in a newspaper or a magazine or on television or whatever, you can't talk about it because it's just too financially devastating to their industry. So, it's not about kids. It's not about public health. It's always about money. We know about the what is that, Kevin? Sign-our amendment. We know that there's always the sign. What?
The thing we're not allowed to talk about.
Every time you mention the sign-our amendment to any politician, their eyes glaze over.
Isn't that sad? Because you know why, Dave? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They don't care about the sign-our amendment.
They don't care about. But I'm just saying, we know about these things, and there was talk about this early on in the '80s. When I knew what was going on, and I'm as dumb as a post. I barely got out of high school, but I saw this and I watched and I listened and I learned, and now I wanted to put it in some sort of perspective. And now that I can't do my second and third documentary anymore, because I know Aaron would do it in a minute if I could find the funding to do it. But I think there's a better way now with our technology and what people have been used to for a year and a half with YouTube and Zoom and streaming and all those other things that we can do. And you guys can help me, especially you, Patrick. And, it took you a while to get him a backdrop, but that's okay.
Hey, I wasn't even able to get him a monitor. Victor did that for us.
Well, that's a shame, because we shouldn't have to beg for money. We shouldn't have to beg for people to get information.
We're not begging. We're offering really cool. We're offering really cool T-shirts.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is this should be something that we do, and we do it. We don't. It's a labor of love for all of us. I know it is. It is for me. It is for you, Kevin, and you for Patrick. I know it is. And I would love to see some rewards coming to the efforts that are made to now make us want to go out and do more and more and more and more and more. And when you keep getting knocked down, eventually you just want to say, you know what, we'll walk away. And that's where I was, and I admit it, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I've got too much to say, and I have some time left. I've been given a chance here, with my new, negative prognosis.
Reprieve. You got a reprieve.
I got a reprieve, because I tell you what, I had myself, buried and cremated. Well, you can't be cremated and buried. You be one or the other. But I guess you can bury cremation in the remains. But the thought of me telling my daughter, who's up in Maine on vacation, that your old man's got lung cancer now, and we're celebrating her mother's anniversary of dying next week for 2 years, was not something I would look forward to. So, it was not something that I wanted to share until I knew what was going on. So I just kept my mouth shut, and I owe Paul Blameyer a couple calls, because he's been real patient with me. Kevin's been real patient with me, but that's how it was. I wasn't ready to be a part of something that wasn't of any value to me anymore, because I was not an asset to that particular industry. I wasn't.
You got to take care of you first. You have to take care of yourself. Yeah.
And I would tell somebody that too, the same thing. But it just took me longer than I wanted it to. I wanted to take a break and get my life back together. And so now I'm living in this big house by myself, and I'm used to it. It's 2 years now. Me and my dog Farley, I got a little short trailer that I can go down to, and I like to get outside in the sun a little bit, because I think tan fat looks better than white fat. So I just want to. There you go.
Look how white I am.
Yeah, but you're not fat. You're skinny.
You're pretty damn fat, dude.
You're a mere shadow of yourself. But all the people that I used to know, on Facebook, I don't go on Facebook much anymore, other than, an animal or a meme or something. Once in a while, I get pissy.
I spread food.
Huh?
I post.
I see your food. I see your food. I
post food, but
I post dogs.
I made a mistake the other day of responding to a vapor, a person that owns a vape company. And I've got to put Facebook down. Like, I do the show goes out on Facebook, the show goes out on YouTube, the show's on Twitter. But I can't Facebook anymore. I can't. I see people that I know and love saying some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen about politics, about COVID, about the vaccine.
I know.
I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. So,
and I won't do it. I will
publicly say this again. because I made a mistake and responded to a Facebook post a couple days ago. I just can't anymore. It's there, but I am going to do everything that I can possibly do not to
Amen, brother. I'm with you. I'm with you on
Twitter is so much easier. I only get so many letters, and I can't. I'm not seeing nearly as much stupidness on Twitter as on Facebook right now. And to not destroy any relationships that I haven't already destroyed, I'm just not going to interface on Twitter or on Facebook anymore. Just can't. I can't.
I'm pretty much resigning myself to not doing other than cute stuff, my grandkids and my dogs and animals and fun stuff. And I do really want to get educated with Charles Gardner. I want to get caught up on what he's doing, and because I think I can learn a lot from him and what he's doing.
He's a smart guy.
I know, and I would really like to reach out to them. And also
follow Charles.
Yep.
Follow Dr. Marwa Glover if you're not already. Follow Ethan Nadelman from Drug Policy. He's Ethan Nadelman. Yep. I'll tag you.
Okay.
I'll send. Those are all great guys to follow on the information kind of pathway.
Wasn't he in You Don't Know Nicotine, Nadelman?
I don't know if Ethan Nadelman was. He should have been if he wasn't, because he has taken the flame of tobacco harm reduction. I mean, he's a drug policy guy, so he's a drug harm reduction guy, a harm reduction guy.
Okay.
But he has recently, in the last year and a half, maybe, really picked up the torch for tobacco harm reduction and started running. Dr. Mark Tyndall, who's been on this show, is a harm reduction guy, also a drug harm reduction guy, but he also does tobacco harm reduction in Canada. Amazingly smart guy and an awesome guest. I need to get him back on because I don't think Kevin was available that night, and it was just me and Mark.
It was.
Some amazing people.
There are. Most of the people I've met over the last 10 years of my involvement with vaping and CBD and all the other people out there that transitioned over for the right reasons. They did it for the right reasons. And
hey, I actually had a really excellent conversation with Dr. Carl Phillips today, which never happens.
What?
Carl's kind of a caustic person sometimes.
Get out.
Love to hate him and hate to love him.
He actually asked a question about sci-fi, and I was able to answer his questions about science fiction stuff. So
there you go.
Smart man.
Sometimes he is a very smart man, but sometimes he can, if you're,
I know, I know. Caustic is
he's never done it to me, but I've seen him blast people, and I'm like, dude, that's your friend.
He doesn't care, but he's usually right. Okay, he's usually right when he says something.
But I do want to say welcome to David Forsyth, who has figured out how to find the Facebook chat group.
Uh-oh.
So he's now in the.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah, I've met Mark Weiss before at an event years ago. Enjoy had a really great legislative affairs team years ago. It was our very good friend.
Patrick.
We can never say his name right.
Patrick, you have a Foley catheter or something? How come you guys never have to go to the doctor?
We're just kids.
Because we're half your age.
Are you wearing Depends? Are you wearing Depends? Is that what it is?
Not tonight.
Yes, and David, I know David is an actual published author who's written science fiction novels. That's one of the reasons why I thought of the conversation with Carl today, because I know that David writes novels.
David Forsyth?
Yes, David Forsyth. He's also the father-in-law or the stepfather of the founders of. I have their email.
Oh, see, there you go.
Dear God. Ripe Vapes. He's the, and he's also in dealing with their compliance program to get their PMTA through. So he's been doing a lot of that work. He's a really smart fella.
How's he feel about the PMTA work right through?
Oh, he's been responding in the chat rooms. He's more positive than I am. He's more positive than I am.
And what's the timing? What's the timing on the PMTA? Remind me, because some of your listeners...
I mean, officially, the court deadline is the official court deadline is September 9th, I think.
11th? I thought it was 11th.
It might I think it's September 11th is not that's a completely different important day.
I know, but I thought it was the same day. That's why
I think it's September 9th.
Okay, that's only a few weeks away.
Yeah. So yeah. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But
we'd like to thank our sponsors. Depends. Thanks, Paul.
Well, I'm the youngest guy here, so just saying.
Dave's the crankiest.
No, I will wear that as a badge. I'm the meanest, crankiest.
I can be cranky. Like I said, if you kick me while I'm down, you better pray I don't get up, and that's what I'm feeling right now. Because people were kicking me while I was down, talking about me like I'm giving up, and they don't know my story.
Yeah, I don't believe that any of us will kick you.
What? I do have PM and direct message. I do have that stuff. They're smart enough not to do it publicly, but they're smart enough to also, bitchy enough to do it behind my back to where it gets back to me.
That's why we screenshot everything.
Yeah.
What?
That's why we screenshot everything, so
you
they
do
can't delete it.
Yeah. So what's on the docket right now for I was going to ask you. No. What happens on September 9th? That's where my mind trip.
Well, I mean, that's where we're kind of up in the air because the judge.
Say it happens. Say it happens September 9th.
If they follow the judge's ruling and the language that the judge gave them, it's not going to be good.
We're done.
David says nothing's going to happen. I've talked to other people that believe that the FDA is going to grant an extension. I heard that. But the judge specifically gave them in the order basically saying you can't do that. And if they did that, and then, I'll address enforcement by discretion again, David. If they do that, then all of the people that sued FDA are going to go straight to court. They're going to waive that fucking decision again, and then it's going to be hell.
It'll be good PR. Period. No
I believe that all the people that sued the FDA and the judge himself, because he appeared pretty negative against on the vaping manufacturers. Like his last paragraph, I'm paraphrasing here, basically said, "You've had all this fucking time to do this and you haven't done it, so it's your fault."
And what's his name? What's Judge's name?
Judge Grimm.
Grimm. Okay. What's the White House saying about this? Are they saying anything?
I read I read 45 pages this week just so that I would be able to speak from knowledge point again. I firmly believe that those 13 people, 13 or those organizations that sued FDA, were to go back to the judge, that he would immediately agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
The language specifically says that the FDA cannot, enforcement discretion does not mean putting a policy in place to delay enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And basically saying that if you are like the word that I keep hearing a lot of companies say is, well, my FDA guy came in and inspected my store and basically said, as long as we're working with the FDA to get our applications through,
we're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay. Well, that in itself runs exactly by definition counter to what the judge said in his ruling. They cannot make a blanket that it must be a case by case basis, and there must be something in that case that leads them to believe that ultimately they would be successful.
Okay.
Patrick, did you hear him ask of the White House? Has there been any statement from Biden at all?
From Biden? Other than when he was running for president saying that he would follow the science? Nothing.
Yeah,
Well,
I
nothing.
didn't think.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to get up. Nothing's been said in the last few weeks about what's going on.
No, nothing other than Raja Kuthamurtry
Christ.
from
And Durbin. That's Dave's pal, Dick Durbin. Him and Dick are buddies.
I mean, obviously, there's a couple legislative things that are like in the pipe somewhere that are blah, and then obviously, FDA also announced that they were going to prioritize PMTAs from the biggest players first.
Right.
So the big money PMTAs, PMTAs are.
Well, the tobacco companies PMTAs have already gone through, or am I wrong?
Nobody has gone through. A couple have been accepted for what they call substantive review.
Yeah, Philip Morris and RJ
only
Reynolds,
the biggest
Mark
ones.
10, right?
No, the Views, the Juul has not.
The
as far as
IQOS
I know.
was. The IQOS.
Well, no, the IQOS got their modified risk
right, a long time ago.
approved,
They got a long
which
time
is
ago.
a completely different animal.
Right.
So they're allowed to actually make. They can't make reduced harm claims, but their language for their MRTP basically says they can say fewer harmful chemicals. Basically, is what I mean. They can't say that it's safer than smoking,
right.
but they can say there's a comment in there that basically says that they can essentially say you are exposed to fewer harmful chemicals.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah. And then anything, yes, David's right. The disposables, not the big tobacco disposables, because they were on the market. Views and Mark 10 were on the market before 2016.
Yeah,
but a lot of the bars, the candy bar or whatever, I haven't been in a vape shop in a long time because all of them here closed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have access to those, but a lot of those, there's a lot of Chinese disposables that are on the market that are technically, not allowed to be on the market. Those will have to go. So Enjoy, David's in the chat room. He's been talking to the guys at Enjoy, and I'll tell you what, Enjoy has always been like Brian Fotick and her name just shot right out of my head.
Cynthia.
Not Cynthia.
Pam
Gorman were Enjoy's legislative affairs team at the beginning.
Right.
And Enjoy has always done, like when we were the vaping militia and we were doing legislative stuff all the time, like they were super helpful in sending us information.
Yeah, they were
great people. And obviously Enjoy took a huge hit. They spent a lot of fucking money defending the entire industry in that original lawsuit in 2009. A lot of fucking money. A lot of people shit on Enjoy right now, because they're a cig-alike or, a disposable or whatever it is that they sell now, because I haven't seen them. The Enjoy Daily was an amazing cig-alike. I had a box of them for years, and they would send me samples to give to people back in the day. So it looks like, Enjoy and Juul and the Views and the, Phantom's Blue probably will be approved by 9/9 is what David's saying by talking to.
That's what I heard. That's why I was trying to get the information, make sure I wasn't thinking down the line there.
Those are the biggest guys, and, FDA prioritized by market share whose PMTAs they were going to look at first. So, Ed West is in the chat room. Yeah, the Enjoy King was the bomb, man. I used to carry those around. Even at events, I would have one in my pocket because you never know where you're going to be and you need something. So, I have nothing but respect for Enjoy. They were good people. And then, they even tried to help Open Vapor for a while, and they did their artisanal line where they got like the mixers from like a bunch of fairly popular e-liquid companies to develop an Open Vapor Enjoy line. It wasn't successful, but some of those products were really good.
Yeah.
They helped a lot of people. And yes, Enjoy is still not big tobacco.
Right.
They've always been who they've always been. That's Cetera. You know, people don't realize that the Cetera decision is named after the parent company of Enjoy, which was at the time, and I still believe, Sottera, Cetera.
Cetera. And it was ruled on December 9th of 2009 with Judge Leon. All right.
Yep.
And Cetera, then that's when I got involved pretty much. And I was just very impressed with the whole concept of, having an alternative. And that's what really drew me into the whole industry. And having quit smoking, obviously I wasn't going to start vaping again, unless it was zero nic, other than for shits and giggles, because there's no reason for me to start vaping when I had already quit and got the nicotine out of my system after all those years. So, but the concept is what I was promoting for the people that I said earlier, the ones who were struggling and desperate, and not necessarily the headbangers and the younger groups, the 18, 19-year-old kids, that you see all the time at the conventions, and that's where we went off, I think, half-cocked, as far as all the different.
I mean, you can't unpull a trigger.
No.
And, it is what it is. We've made those decisions. We have to fight with what we have. And,
I'm sure it made it a lot easier and it would have been, I think, a better future
if
we had a crystal ball, obviously. Monday morning quarterback.
I don't have a way back machine now. We could go back in time and fix all the shit we did wrong. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. We made a huge mistake when we put all of our ducks in the Republican basket. I'm a fucking Republican most of the time. I'll say this. We turned the Democrats that might have possibly been able to be turned to our side against us when we made this a black and white thing. Instead of talking about tobacco harm reduction, we turned it into a freedom argument. And the freedom argument's never going to work with the left. It's never going to work with the left. We should have talked about drug policy. We should have talked about harm reduction. We should have brought in scientists instead of the vape bros to defend us in court.
Human rights.
And we would have probably been a little bit better off than what we are now.
But they were still cashing checks from Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, Imperial, and British Tobacco, and the PAC money and all of the donations.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's all trackable. We can open secrets and go through all of their fucking campaigns.
It's not going to make a difference now. You can't put a toothpaste back in the tube. You can't unring a bell. And you're right. We made a lot of mistakes, and we should have done this differently. We should have done this. We should have done that. But we didn't. So we can't go back on what should have, could have, would have been. But we can now go forward with some new ideas and some new strategies with some of the old players. Everybody loves nostalgia. Everybody loves to hear about what it was like 30, 40, 50 years ago. And we should capitalize on that. We should capitalize on what the tobacco companies did and how they got away with it, and still give them the kudos. If they're going to go ahead and say, well, we're going to get rid of combustible tobacco, all it does is just reinforces and cements that this shit is bad for you, which is why the company that makes it is going to capitalize on that and get the media to where they say, well, yeah, maybe we should talk about it. Maybe we should do another show. I have a story. I was doing all my touring, okay? And I was in Buffalo with Roswell Park Cancer Institute. I was doing a whole bunch of schools, and they had me on AM Buffalo, one of those morning shows that they used to have. They had you go over there and they give you a 6-7 minute segment. And I went on for 6 or 7 minutes when I was there the first time. And that was like a year and a half later, they brought me back. And then the host from Roswell, Dr. Mike Cummings, who said, we want to get you back on AM Buffalo. And remember, I was only on for 6 minutes. And of those 3 minutes of it was my name and who I was. All right. And then they wanted me back on. Well, Roswell wanted me back on again. You know what the response was? No, we already covered that a year and a half ago. The whole tobacco thing with 500,000 people dying every year, 1,200 a day, but they already covered it with a 6-minute snippet soundbite. And that's how the attitude was. And that's when I learned that I have to talk faster than them. And when they want to take the mic away, they're just going to have to shut me the hell off. They're just going to have to turn the microphones off because I'm just going to keep going. So from that point on, the media was prepared for me to come in and not follow directions, And I've told some anchor people that you're full of crap. I said, you don't believe what I'm telling you? They said, oh, they wouldn't have said the young, the poor, the black, and the stupid. I pull up my old tape recorder and I go, "Want to hear it? Here it is, right here." And then they get embarrassed, and then they get pissed off, and then they don't want you back because you're not a kiss ass kind of interview.
You're not a player. Yep.
They don't want to make waves.
No, they don't want to make waves. So I mean, that's why I got to do it myself in my way, and I can. I don't care.
We need a like a all the president's men moment. We need like some respectable, like very important news guy, like to break the story like they did Watergate. Hey, we got Deep Throat here who has all the secrets, and we're gonna rock the boat. But they don't want to do that anymore.
Well,
you ever read the book? Yeah.
Let me ask Dave a question, Patrick. In 2014, David had a blog, and I spent, I don't know, 7 fucking hours going through this fucking blog, and that's for those of you who needed the drink words. And he just pissed me off more and more. Word. It wasn't even a paragraph at a time. It was a word at a time. And I contacted David, and I said, "Geez, oh man, this is unfucking believable. What is going on in the fucking world?" So when I'm reading Dave's blog and I'm formulating a little silly ass survey at the time, I thought, Dave responds, surprisingly. I didn't know who Dave was. Dave had no idea who I was. And he responded to me. And I'll ask you, Dave, again, has anybody called you yet from that original moment in 2014 where I said Dave needs a phone?
Nobody.
He's the fucking voice right there.
Nobody called me. Nobody wanted to hear from me because it wasn't in their agenda. It wasn't in their to-do list, because it was going to make waves, and that means they would have to do follow-up. They would have to do research. They would have to do vetting. They would have to check me out, and they didn't want to do that because I was just the model who did something, and now he's a whistleblower. I was the first whistleblower, before they did it with The Insider. You saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
The Insider. And I was the first one, but nobody wanted to talk about it because R.J. Reynolds wasn't number one. It was Philip Morris in Marlboro. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd gone on the television, but no one had ever done what I did. So that was my opportunity. And I was really put on a pedestal by Cliff Douglas and Matt Myers and all the other people who were in this for the right reasons at the time. Because they started out, and I'll say this right now, they started out with the right intentions. They didn't go into this, I don't believe, to go and become this magnificently huge nonprofit organization where they could see futures of incomes for the rest of their lives. So I think their intentions were pure in the beginning. I just think everybody gets skewed along the way, or can be skewed. Depends on their politics, and then politics gets involved, and then money gets involved, and then you get more money. And I'm just going to all these schools, telling my story to kids and becoming the George Carlin, the anti-tobacco movement, and doing comedy. And, I started getting popular, and I was in every state in 13 countries. So I took advantage of the opportunity, and they paid me, and they paid me well. They really did. So it's not like I didn't get anything from it, but my intent was always pure and honest. And I just didn't deviate from that my whole life. So I want to continue that now, because I do believe that nostalgia is an important part of people's lives, because people who are now 65 and 70 smoking from they can resonate to what I'm saying. It will resonate with them. So if it has to be a show where we talk about tobacco and the history of tobacco and advertising, I could do a show on that. I could do it every night. I could do call-in. I could get people who are non-smokers saying, how do I get my boyfriend or my husband or my wife or my son to quit? And I'm not a psychologist, but I can also give them information that they can go back to their son or their daughter, or their father, or their mother, or themselves. So I'm trying to be all things to all people if I can, which is it's a tough task, because you can't always be all things to all people. But what I say can resonate with almost everybody that would listen to the show or hear me, because they got somebody they love that smokes.
See, we don't have to be all things to all people, because you have the grouchy in your face show, and then we could offer a more professional elder statesman show with you, and then we still do Demi's show when Demi does a show. We still rebroadcast his show. And when Mike comes back, we have the more lilting and dulcet tones of Mike's voice. I mean, we could make all this work. No big deal.
And then you got Crowley doing all the research to make sure what we're saying is, legitimate. That's what I used to call. He was my library. Crowley
my job at the moment is to just make sure Patrick's not wrong.
Not wrong.
That's the only thing I have to do.
And you did that for me for a while too.
And I love being able to make Kevin go, that is amazing, or you're a genius. I'll tweet something. I'll tweet something and he'll go, you're a genius. I fucking love you. And then he'll go, no, but I don't like you.
I don't even like him.
and then I'll use a word like dastardly, and he'll message me and go, that is awesome. You used the word dastardly.
He's tricking
that
me,
actually
Dave.
started a whole conversation today with Skip, who is not asleep. That she said she was going to sleep, but she's
Skip
not.
Murray.
Cranky old brought herself. Yep. She's in.
About the use of the word dastardly.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's something Dave would have said. That's why I was so.
I would have said that.
Yeah, of course.
Dastardly is a good word. I love that word.
See, I would love to go back to the beginning of all this tobacco thing because of so many people that are dying. Because what's really fortunate about the COVID thing, when I say fortunate about it, no one has died from a natural cause of anything since February of 2020.
Right.
Nobody. I haven't had. Nobody's that. You get shot in the head, you die of COVID. But and that starts a whole other, conversation with people on Facebook, and I don't go there anymore. But I say that tongue in cheek with you guys because I think this is still important enough when the expendable 1,200 people who croak out every day from, something that they are sorry they ever started. I think they're important, and I think we should spend some time to get them, just like you said, and take the gloves off. I've said that many times, right, Kevin? I take the gloves off. Well, now my knuckles are bleeding, because I took the gloves off, but I don't care. So I've got a whole new desire in me, and it's on fire, and I need to bring it back. And I'm going to do the radio show with Rodman and try to get some of his people excited, and then do my own show with him and do the show with you, unless you think, there's another way I should go, totally independent, from whatever you think. But I think you also need to be paid, for these things. You ought to be, rewarded. It doesn't have to be a lot. It has to be something to where you feel like you're doing this not only for the right reasons, but it'll continue to health-wise to make you feel positive about it because you are making a difference, and you are. So I've met a lot of people, in this industry, and you've kept them alive for me. So I appreciate that, and I respect you for it. And you do have a good following.
David, this is what we call, this is the Scallywag t-shirt. This is a skull and crossbones, but it's 2 cross mods. You can't see what's on the back, so I'm going to read you what the 3 quotes from my favorite political satirist and writer in history, H.L. Mencken. Some amazing quotes, but the first quote is, the most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out without regard to the prevailing superstitions and taboos. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, hoist the flag. And then below that is another quote from H.L. Mencken. It says, Puritanism, the haunting fear that someone, somewhere, may be happy. And then it says, hoist the flag.
Hoist the flag. Nice.
And then the last quote says, every normal man must be tempted at times to spit on his hands, hoist the black flag, and to begin slitting throats.
There you go.
Hoist the damn flag. That's what it says on the back of the shirt.
Yep.
So
that's all that's on the back of your shirt?
Yes.
Really?
Whatever.
I hope you didn't pay by the letter.
Whatever we can do, Dave, to facilitate you to be louder, I'm in. Whatever it is.
Well, I've always known that. You've never been far away from my thoughts. I just didn't know what to say, so you get a little sheepish, and you don't want to be redundant because I don't like redundancy. And there you go. Very nice.
Oh,
those are very poignant and those are very nice. But I think what we need to do, and as an industry, is get everybody rejuvenated somehow. Get them excited again, to where even with all the negativism and what's going to happen with the FDA and the deadlines of September 9th or whatever. So what? We'll find something else to keep it alive, because people still need to be cared for and looked after and encouraged and loved.
The point Patrick makes earlier for the people in the industry is that on September 9th, if there is nothing done, and I'm quoting David directly with these 3 words, the body parts people organizations, those are his words I stole. If those body parts organizations start raising hell, use that to our advantage.
Mm-hmm.
We know it beforehand. If there's nothing done, if there is nothing done, and they say, okay, we're going to extend it out. That's a PR thing that can be played with, I would think.
Sure,
I'm not the smart guy. I'm not the guy that's smart enough to figure out what the ploy will be, but we already know what they're going to do. We were already talking about it for months.
Right.
So when that deadline passes and you're going to take it in the ass, then I'm kind of questioning who hadn't thought of something in advance. That's all.
Right.
There's my shirt. There it is.
Okay. Very nice. So can I buy one of those shirts or what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, you can.
Sale.
How much are they? Like $1?
No, they're like $17 for that one.
I'll buy one. I need an extra large because extra large because I have to wash it 3 times. Otherwise, I get a rash under my armpits, and I don't like rashes under my armpits because of all the chemicals they use in the shirts.
So this one is my particular favorite shirt. I actually wore this shirt last week on the show.
Did you wash it?
It comes in amazing colors.
David said he'd have to be sniffing your butt to read your shirt.
Well, he can sniff my butt. It's okay.
I like black because black is slimming. I like slimming.
It comes in black.
I like black.
Hmm.
And this is my Pinnacle green. It's my Pinnacle shirt. I got Pinnacle purple. And I love the Pinnacle people. And so if you got anything in a green or a purple or a black, I'll buy one. I'll Venmo you the money. How's that?
It actually, you just have to buy it on the website.
Have to buy it on the website.
That's all. Every dollar that we make right now is going to buy Charles a microphone.
How much are microphones?
About $100.
I'll just send them $100. You need the microphone? I'll send them $100.
You got to get him on with you.
I don't know his Venmo.
And
then this is the other one. This is the nicotine enhanced brain T-shirt that I designed.
That's kind of nice.
Because some people's brain works better with nicotine.
They do. Absolutely.
And it's available in a plethora of colors.
Have you talked to Aaron Biebert at all, you guys?
Aaron was on the show, maybe 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah, 5, I think.
Yeah.
I gotta reach out to him.
Because he's doing videos with Vita now sometimes, and he released a 10-minute video today about flavor bans in Canada.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was really good. He's done a couple of really good videos for them. And, we love Aaron. He's been on the show several times. And he's always welcome to come on the show. He comes into the chat room sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, we should be amplifying the people instead of worrying about the negativity. I mean, obviously, we focus a lot of negativity on the show towards our enemies, but we should also be promoting and amplifying the people that we love and that are doing great things. And Aaron is one of those people who has been shit on by a lot of people.
Right. Yes, he has.
People that should be thanking him.
Well, that's my whole thinking is I would like to do the second part of my documentary, online rather than going to do a film and put it on Amazon Prime or Roku or Tubi or whoever else is out there. But I do know that I have more to say, because my first one was only 19-minute trailer, pretty much of who I am. And for those who didn't know me, it's an intro.
The intro.
So I want to continue that with a kind of like a Girl It's Tapes kind of a thing, Kevin. You know, do you have access to that, or is that still available to be read?
I've actually tagged it in the chat room, and I'm going to paste it in there now. I've been waiting on that.
I mean, really, that content
2.0. We should be at 2.0, Dave.
You could do it. You could do an easily revisit that content and add more content.
Sure.
And go even further.
Maybe Mr. Snowden
easy
will
to
do
produce.
Why don't you reach out to him, Kevin, for me?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Because he's a nice guy too. He's written some really good shit. You know, I think people need to.
And that was
I think everybody.
And he likes to drink too, so that'll be good to hold up the drink sign.
What was that?
No, he's a really nice. He got me right when he was just starting his journalistic.
Velvet Glove Iron Fist is a great place to start.
December of 2010. So you're 11 years out.
I was younger then.
That's a shitload of time and lots of
things. Yeah, but nothing's changed. More people have died. That's all.
Yeah.
4.5 million people have died since then in the United States. So, I'd like to do something, and I will take your advice and your guidance, and I would welcome it. I would welcome anybody else that's out there fighting in a different venue than you are. You know, that I could be an asset to. If I could help Charles in any way in promoting what he's doing and his business, his organization. Get Derek back on the phone and find out what's happening with Smoke Free World. Get Aaron back on here to get him excited, because you're right, people have crapped on him all over the place. And I would like to see him have his comeuppance with these people, and to where he can get these people to understand that his motives were pure. And that's the bottom line: is what's your intent? If your intention is to hurt somebody, you're wrong. If your intention was to, make peace with somebody, that's a good thing to do. But if you hurt somebody accidentally, it's forgivable, and you can move on. But some people have hurt Aaron and other people in this industry really bad, to where I don't think they can ever be forgiven, in my point of view. So I won't mention any names, but I do know that there's a lot of people that have hurt this industry and helped make a perfect storm for the government to come after the vaping people, and decimate it, like they're trying to do. So I'd like to, let everybody know I'm back. And I told people last week, and I'm going to keep coming back until it no longer makes sense. And right now, it's making sense to do that.
Right now I'm sharing the Christopher Snowden book, Velvet Glove Iron Fist. I think
good book. Really,
it's an amazing book. And if you really want to see where we started and where we're going, essentially this is the playbook. You need to read it. And he's got a great website, so check that out too. If you're not following him on Twitter, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but we really appreciate the time, David, and you're always welcome here, and we'll get together and figure out ways that we can help.
Well, I'm just putting it out there. I'm planting seeds.
Give you a place to scream from the rafters.
Well, I don't. I have very low lung, oxygen reserve in my lungs, so I don't scream much anymore.
We'll get you a microphone. It'll promote you.
We'll get you a booster.
Booster.
We'll get you a. You don't need a mixing board and all that crap that you used to have.
I don't need that. I don't want to. All I'm going to do is
that didn't really help the quality of your show anyway. There are way easier ways to do this, and the technology is so much easier.
Well, I'm still going by David G. That's my brand. That's my name. David G.
You still own Model Citizen. That's yours. You can use that.
Model Citizen, and my new one is Better the Devil You Know. So that's who I want to be, and I want people to know that my intent is to help, not hurt. And anytime you ever want me back, let me know, and I'll be there, buddy. Kevin, good seeing you. Good talking to you.
Yes, sir.
And you all have a good, wonderful weekend, and be safe.
Yeah. I got a new car about 6 weeks ago, and about a week ago, a truck threw a rock and cracked my windshield. And
oh, nice.
I got to be up at 7:30 in the morning to go get a new windshield installed in my car.
Well, you
for
better
free.
get to bed.
For free. I can sleep while they're installing it. No big deal.
We'll go change your Depends so you don't get a rash.
That's right.
No, I got a bladder the size of a, no worries.
Too much information. Thank you.
But yeah, we appreciate you.
My pleasure, guys. I'm glad this worked out. I mean, because I was just going to see if you were going to be on, and then I saw you. This cancellation. Then you said, "Are you?" What'd you say?
I saw you like the post, and I said, "Are you spry and energetic?"
Spry and energetic, and I said, "Always." I am.
Very, very pleasant surprise tonight.
All right, guys, you be good.
I didn't know.
You be good.
Love you both, and say hello to everybody. And I will be in touch. You be in touch, and I'm always here. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Love you, brother.
We'll work this shit out.
All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Yep.
How do I get out of here?
Exit. On the bottom right of your screen, there's a button that says "Leave Studio." It's red. It's the only red button.
I can't see shit.
Dink. I think he found it.
He did. He dinked away. He dinked away.
Oh my god, I love that, man.
See that worked out. We didn't get our Alex Norcia show yet.
Nope.
And Alex started responding on Twitter explaining the situation. Somebody hit a power pole or something and he doesn't have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get him on at some point.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
We're famous. We get the movers and the shakers and the thinkers on our show.
Which is that now?
Well, I'm infamous. You're famous. I'm the infamous
famous. One. I'm famous all the way to McDonald's, right down the road. It's about a
Hey,
mile.
that might buy you a double cheeseburger. You never know.
I doubt it.
No,
I'm never there.
You won't get the Big Mac or the quarter pounder, but you can get a double cheese for only like $1.19.
The only thing that McDonald's knows about me is whatever my wife says she wants. That's it.
Well, what Mama wants, Mama gets.
I'm surprised. We'll never have them as this because I can't stand McDonald's. I just can't.
I'm a Burger King kind of guy, but mostly Whataburger.
I'm just not a McDonald's guy. Their coffee is great. Other than
actually, their coffee doesn't suck, and it's really hot, which is or it was before some old lady burned herself, and then they had to cool it down. But
yeah, the heat actually makes it taste better as opposed to the others.
I mean, sometimes you want really hot coffee, and sometimes you want iced coffee.
I could do a half hour on their coffee, and then I could do like a 2-hour show just on their sweet tea. I do like their sweet tea. So I guess.
No, you don't know nothing about sweet tea until you get Whataburger sweet tea, my friend.
Until I don't know everything about everything, but the sweet tea, I'm not an anti-McDonald's. I just don't like McDonald's food.
I like flame broiled is better, my friend.
Well, I hope everybody else was freaking surprised as I was tonight.
I messaged you like at the very last second before we went live that David was going to be on the show. He didn't even show up pre-show. He showed up after I had already started the countdown timer.
Yeah.
And I was worried. I was worried that he was going to fall asleep before all those videos, because I played all those videos at the beginning of the show.
Well, you're going to bore him.
He's going to fall asleep. Fall asleep during the intro.
I took my nap a little while ago. I had to go get coffee.
Yeah.
In fact.
Man, are you fueled up and ready to go? Because I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I'm done. I got shit to do in the morning anyways.
Well, I mean, at your age, you probably do have shit to do.
So 3 naps
before you can do anything else. When you wake up, first thing you do is you got to go and
shit to do. I want the audience to think of shit to say when these fuckers go to the judge if there is an extension. I can't.
That's
wait.
Never going to happen. I
know.
I mean,
we could be wrong.
I've been here as long as I've been here, and I know that those people are not going to stand by and allow that to happen.
That'll be the
people that sued the FDA, and like I said, the judge, he's not very complimentary to the FDA. I mean, he blasted the FDA in that 45 pages like many times that they weren't doing their fucking job.
It's because they don't know what they're doing.
And then, basically saying that the vaping industry are a bunch of irresponsible people not doing what they're supposed to do. Well, so, yeah, I have a feel like this is going to get fucking ugly. And we're going to be on the fucking block.
We'll have stuff to do, though, won't we? Jesus. And for those
there was a moment there where I was reaching out to like programmers outside of the country, going, "Is there a way that we can host an overseas server,
right,
somewhere with like military grade encryption to do like a Silk Road for vaping?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why do you even have to start a Silk Road for vaping when there's already a Silk Road?
Right. Yeah.
It's not gonna be pretty.
It's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. It's just not going to be pretty. That's right. Fugly's good. I like Fugly, Mallory.
Mallory has coined the phrase Fugly. That's I might open a new recipe and call it Fugly.
I saw the Thunder from Down Under Bruni in the YouTube chat, I think. So you can't make me open more tabs though. Look at
you have like 2 whole monitors.
I know. Well, yeah, but
you can have like a plethora. I used plethora a while ago, and somebody
plethora.
No, I'm going to say it British. I'm going to say it like cultured plethora. Yeah, you should be able to have like 100 different things open now. You have 2 monitors.
It took about 3 days for me to get used to it. I've got 2 different pictures now of Logan, so he was like really surprised when he walked in yesterday. He was thrilled with himself completely. And yeah, I'm well, we didn't do a lot of sharing tonight with the Victor share screen, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is kind of cool. I just don't know where to put my face, which,
well, you have to look at the camera. See, that's the problem is, I have the camera in between 2 monitors. So it always looks like I'm kind of looking in the general direction of the camera, but I'm really not. The camera.
We're not paying attention to them. You know that.
And then I got to look here every once in a while because that's where the chat room is.
Mm-hmm.
It's better when I'm on that setup because I use the big screen TV, not the big screen, but the 32-inch flat screen TV as the show screen.
Right.
And and the camera floats right in front of the monitor. So when I'm doing it from there, which I haven't done since I broke my leg, I'm looking mostly at the camera. And only every once in a while looking to my left where the other computer and the other monitor are.
I was thinking one on the wall and one in front of me. So they're both right there. But
then you got to put the camera somewhere so that you're looking down the barrel of the camera, which is difficult when you're trying to do multiple things. Like I tweeted to Charles or to Cliff Douglas during the show with, I retweeted or I overtweeted myself.
Okay. All right. Let me find it.
The show while David was on.
You asked,
and boy, wouldn't it be great to have, these 2 old, I didn't say old dudes, but these 2 dudes.
I already asked Mr. Snowden as well.
Yeah, Christopher Snowden would be a great guest as well. If he would deign to, lower himself to our level.
I went with follow up on the Gorlitz tapes, and then I tagged the Gorlitz tapes in as well. So, yeah, but he'd be great.
I mean, I've got excellent video editing software.
Yeah,
I can do a really amazing video like the one I'm going to show on the way out of us making fun of Cuomo for the last time.
Yep. So one thing I would love to ask the remainder of the audience is to go to NACH. Christ, I can't read it. NACHTNOIR, Son of Liberty Radio, and retweet on Twitter. I would love to host a conversation between Winston Man and C. Doug, which is Cliff Douglas, who's by the way following me now, and I think it would be an amazing and informative discussion. I'm going to put it in our chat on the Facebooker part. And I've already retweeted it if you want to go to mine, but I'm giving you the man himself's tweet right there. So please retweet that.
That would be an amazing. I wouldn't even come on screen.
Right.
Like, see, I would come in, introduce them, and then I would put myself in the green room.
We've discussed this before. I have a bone to pick with Mr. Douglas, but I would much rather have him and Dave, you moderating or whatever, playing with the Twitter part or the StreamYard part, because I think it would be an interesting show that I would rather not be on. I could interject and I can, feed you a question or something maybe if I wanted to, and you would ignore it or not. But yeah, to watch those.
I would just be like off screen. Like I would prefer to just let them go.
Roll.
Yeah.
Imagine the side. They've both been on one side, and Dave's obviously been on the other. So yeah, that would be an extreme. Who's left? How many are left besides Myers and him?
No, Myers is never going to come at it. He's never going to agree to come on our show because he knows that we've got him dead to rights.
No, I know that, but
I mean, when he made his comment about if there was a way to deliver nicotine the same way we deliver caffeine, like a cup of coffee, we would be right for that.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Liana.
Done, she says.
If we can get his attention, he's like, oh, wait a minute, I remember him. I don't think there's something that's bad in the background that's known or not. I don't know, but that might be something he would entertain. I don't know. I hope. The letter he put out was a lot of balls. So for somebody in his,
he's got big cojones, and we need to give him the opportunity to get his voice past Twitter.
Huge.
I mean, obviously, we're going to put it right back on Twitter, but
right,
and other places. Luckily, we have the podcast. We have the audio podcast. Our audio podcast footprint is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I would welcome the opportunity to be able to offer that to Cliff and David to have that conversation. I think it would be awesome.
I think it would be three pieces. It's history. It's they're reminiscing of their things that they went through and what to go forward with. Those three things, worded funny by me by that point, but those three sections of their lives, what they did right or wrong, like he said, and then what can we do to go forward? Between the two, they're two giants, in my opinion, of that era, of the 80s era. So, and you're right, Troop. I know they don't want to have a conversation. I've offered, even in Ohio, to go have caffeine at places up in Columbus, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Sharonville, somewhere on Twitter. It's back in the past. All they need to have is a warm coffee pot. That's all I cared, to show them things.
Thankfully, David doesn't think we smell bad because he came when our other guest didn't.
Well, it's that old man smell, right?
Well, if that's the case, then he fits right in. So.
Well, I've met him a few times. He's never smelled.
David and I have done shared the stage several times over the years.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
And I always had a rule when I was at an event, I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't drink. Yeah. And David, I don't think David drinks at all. So, a lot of times we were sober and everybody else was drunk, but we did get on stage a few times together, and David has the ability. He's still listening.
He's still listening.
I know he is. He has
this is the let's talk about Dave part.
Yeah, it is. We were just saying how awesome you are. And he said, I didn't sniff your butt. That's true. He didn't sniff my butt. I would maybe have freaked out a little bit if some crazy old man was sneaking behind me to sniff my butt. But he has the ability to get people excited.
And their attention, yes.
And he has history that he knows things that I read things. He experienced things. There is a difference between me reading you something and
knowing, seeing, living, breathing. Name
being
anybody
able to
else.
Give that firsthand.
Name anybody else. You're a very knowledgeable guy. I'm going to let you have it. You're a genius. Give me one more name that's experienced the same things similarly to Mr. Gorlitz.
None.
Anybody?
Well, I mean, that guy in The Insider, but I don't know his name.
Thank you for smoking. Maybe there's somebody in there.
Well, that's a fictitious thing, but it is an excellent movie. It's funny as hell, I think.
So how sad is it that our American media would not take advantage of Mr. Gorlitz? How sad is it?
Well, it's just that's more of a conversation about the sadness of our current reality. It's embarrassing to me. I saw this. This is one of those times that I was on Facebook this week, and I was like, I have to walk away. I saw this is a post. This is a post that somebody reposted. A conversation from a post from a guy from Germany.
Okay.
And he said, I'm from Germany. I live in Germany or whatever. And, we used to look up to America as being this beacon of intelligence and freedom and yada, yada, yada. And he said, during a pandemic, when people refuse to wear masks, when everybody else in the entire world is smart enough to wear a fucking mask during a viral pandemic. And we look at these posts from America and shake our heads and sadly come to the realization that America is a shithole.
We're the sphincter of
I'm embarrassed that a fucking German
see.
Is pointing out how stupid we
are.
How
badly we Of course.
Yeah. No, I mean
I bet David can't name another guy that knows what he knows.
He did. He named Jeffrey Wigand. Jeffrey Wigand is the insider.
Okay. So there we go. So one guy. Is he alive? I don't know that either.
So. I think he was. They made a movie about him, and he was like interviewed and stuff. So I think he's still alive.
Matthew McConaughey.
I don't know.
He should play Dave in his.
Matthew McConaughey.
I think. All right.
I don't know. I just don't really see Dave.
No, you don't see. No.
High school girls. I get older.
No, I don't mean
because of the same age. I mean, that's what I think of when I think Matthew McConaughey. Livin.
It'd be cooler if you did.
I love that movie.
It's a good show. So
that's a damn good movie.
It was a great movie.
Dazed and Confused, folks. That's a good movie.
So your homework for the night is tweet Peckerhead over there.
Tweet the Cliff invitation, please.
Tweet
that's
Peckerhead's. Yep. Tweet Peckerhead's tweet and then watch the Gorlitz tapes or listen or watch or both.
Don't call Cliff Douglas a Peckerhead. That's not.
No, I'm calling you a Peckerhead.
Oh, okay. You can call me that. I don't care.
I know. It'd be all right.
Yeah, I think that's about it for the night. Kevin, do you have anything that you wanna point people to? You want to draw attention other than the Cliff Douglas invitation tweet?
The Gorlitz tapes. It's about probably 30-40 minutes of David and questions.
This is not even one of our longest shows.
David. Oh no, Dave.
David's asking how long is this damn show? It's as long as Kevin and I want it to be.
East Coast, Dave. I'm on your side of the country, and he's kept me up till 3 in the freaking morning. It's inhumane.
Before, not today. It's almost 1 right now. You guys, yeah. But I just want everybody to, we have enough money to pay for a microphone for Charles now. I just need to reach out to Charles and say, do you want to buy it? Do you want me to send you the money, or do you want me to send you the microphone? And I will get on Amazon and do the same thing I did for Kevin and have it shipped and dropped to his house. I'm thankful to everybody that bought shirts, but don't stop buying the shirts, because we're going to figure out other ways to spend that money that won't go into my pocket. I promise you. There's always places that we can help people, and it's not a lot of money, but every dollar helps. And at some point we got bills to pay that eventually will have to be paid. I mean, we're good until February of next year, so I'm not looking for sponsors at this moment, but Kevin and I could sell sponsorships all over the place and make a lot of fucking money. We're not looking for that. All we're doing is looking for the hosting fees. I have a job. Kevin might need $1 or $2. I've never asked, but we're not here to make money. We're here to save people. And as long as we have the platform, we're going to keep going. And even if they deplatform us, we'll find ways to keep going. They can't hit it. They can't pull us off of everything. And we're on everything. I mean, you can go to iTunes and get us. You can go to Amazon, sells it or gives us away because they don't charge anything. iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere that has podcasts, we have them. So we're there. We're everywhere that we can be. And if there's a place that we're not, we'll figure out a way to get there. So love you. Thank you for spending 3 hours and 47 minutes with us. We'll be back next Friday as always, and maybe we'll have a guest. I don't know. We'll look at that. Maybe we'll get David Forsyth to come on and talk science fiction. Not on this show. We'll do a sci-fi show for that. Y'all be good, and go find your wife and plant a big wet one on her. Go find your kids and to make sure they're tucked in, and enjoy your weekend. Do the things that you want to do, and we will see you in 7 days.
We find that the governor on many occasions engaged in sex-based harassing conduct and conversations. The most serious was the governor's unwelcome physical contact with women, including touching intimate body parts.
So what?
One current employee, who we identify as Executive Assistant Number 1, endured repeated physical violations.
I do it with everyone. Black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street. So what? And that is what I do every day.
No, never give up, never surrender.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room, because it's such a huge elephant. It's the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that just I don't know is killing people right now.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
It's not about really quitting smoking. Their ideological viewpoint against vaping is so strong and so weird. Like, honestly, it's just weird. I don't know why it invokes this incredible sort of anger from these people. I mean, this colleague of mine said to me when I first moved to get the inquiry up, her comment to me was, why don't they just use a patch? And I said to her, do you smoke? And she's like, no. I said, have you ever smoked? And she said, no. And I said, well, shut up then. You don't know how hard it is to quit smoking.
Engorged, penis.